Agreement with God. This is a ceremony that is performed only once in a lifetime. As soon as the hero was born, the god whose name he had never heard greeted him and offered to perform such an important ceremony. He was given unimaginable power. God said that he had a bright future, and he would take care of the rest himself, and so a contract was made with a lower god, after which he disappeared. All his childhood, he tried to control this immense power. That's why he didn't train hard enough. At some point, they started calling him talentless. Some guy told him that this wasn't a trash can. The hero is no better than a commoner with a sword and magic. Perhaps the Magic Knight Academy Felis made a mistake when enrolling him. The hero truly hated that nickname. The Felis Royal Capital Magic Knight Academy, the Holy Academy, where only the most promising elite can get in. Yuno just wanted to live peacefully in the countryside, working in the fields. The hero answers the guy Maro that he passed the entrance exams after all, so now they will be classmates. The students began to discuss what was happening, and the origin of the guys. Then a stream of air flew at the guy, but he dodged it in time. Maro says that since they are childhood friends, he will clarify the situation for him. He explains that this is no place for untalented and lazy individuals like him. He is sure that the hero used the Astario family name to cheat his way into the academy. The other students agree with him. A girl named Alice stood up for the boy. She was convinced that Yuno had gotten here legally, using his powers. He may not be a master of swords or magic, but he was smart enough to make up for it. Maro threw a sarcastic comment towards the girl. She suggested that he compare his exam scores with Yuno's. Or, he's afraid of revealing to everyone that he came to this academy with a passing score, so he's picking on Yuno. Maro blushed. He didn't lose his head and started shouting that the Marquis's daughter was in love with Sir Yuno. The hero thinks that it's useless. When Alice is in such a state, she can't be stopped. He has never seen her lose in a verbal altercation. The girl became embarrassed and blushed at Maro's words. The young man was perplexed. He doesn't mind being the only one despised. But if Alice gets involved, that's a whole different story. If Yuno fails to enter the academy, his father will kick him out of the Astario household. This is the order his father gave him, recognizing his status as a, quote, talentless person. In fact, he doesn't mind being kicked out of the house. For the sake of his older sister, he decided to take this entrance exam. In any case, he fulfilled his father's condition. He was about to say something, but suddenly someone entered the classroom. It was a man. He told everyone to take their seats. He waved his hand at them, ordering them not to stand still. Maro clicked his tongue. Everything seems to be fine for now. Yuno apologized to the girl and thanked her for standing up for him. Alice said that everything was fine. The man stood in front of the class and congratulated the students on their admission. From today on, he, Soleil, would be their class teacher. He wanted to say something else, but Maro interrupted him, saying that one of them had been enrolled by mistake. He said the name Yuno Astario. The boy asked him to explain how someone who couldn't use a sword or magic got here. Soleil started flipping through his notebook and confirmed that Yuno had done poorly on the practical exam. But they had been doing the written exam since the academy was founded, and he was the first one to get a perfect score. Everyone was shocked. Alice giggled enthusiastically. Soleil pointed out that Maro should follow Yuno's example and study harder next time. First, he decided to go over the main rules of the academy. Students must be careful when making agreements. This is a unique and serious ritual. The power of the god granted is proportional to his glory. If they make a pact with a known god, they will gain great power. Yuno thought of a god whose name was not even mentioned anywhere. One student raised her hand and said that she had questions. She asked about the possibility of making an agreement with many gods. Soleil answered that such a possibility exists, but it happens extremely rarely. Regarding the agreement, it is better to let them hear it directly than to explain it. All the students were inspired. And Yuno did not understand what was happening. Alice said that he might not want to see it. Very soon, he realized what exactly Alice's sad words meant. A girl in torn, dirty, and shabby clothes entered the classroom. Yuno's gaze darkened. The girl greeted him and introduced herself as a nameless, homeless god. This surprised Yuno. She is famous in this academy. It is a great honor to hear from God, so students should listen carefully. The girl asked if the students knew why they called her homeless. Morrow replied that she was a weak god without a name. The girl confirmed this. They would gain little benefit from an agreement with a nameless god like her. She would tell them about some of the rules that existed for the gods. First, a god must always answer when someone asks his name. When a pact is made with a god, an unwanted pact can be avoided by asking the name in advance. Morrow decided to mock and ask the name of a homeless god. She answered that she had no name. It was a good example. Homeless gods like her would not be able to give an answer. Yuno does not understand what they want to show here. Morrow stood up and asked if you make a deal with the homeless god, you can give him a name. The girl confirmed this. The young man offered to make a contract with her. God sincerely believed that the guy really wanted it. Morrow began to tell her to do humiliating things. Yuno understood that the guy was lying and mentally asked him to stop. Morrow called the girl a failed goddess. He added that it suited her perfectly. He wouldn't even have to give her a name. It had been a good rehearsal. Thanks to the failed goddess, he was ready for the real thing. The goddess smiled sadly. Yuno mentally asked her to stop mocking him. Humanity has no right to insult a god like that. The young man was angry. He asked Alice if she knew about it. She answered that there was a famous homeless god here, and for 12 years he had not made a single agreement. The girl asked the guy not to create problems. If he can make a pact with the god in this academy, he will be reborn, but now is not the time for that. Yuno thanked the girl and said that she really knows him well. The hero stood up from his seat and told Morrow to get out of the way. He hit him in the stomach. Everyone was shocked. Morrow fell to the floor. Yuno thought that he was perfectly fine with being insulted. The god who called himself Zeus gave him this power without thinking. This power can always cause many troubles, so he hid his abilities and accepted all the insults addressed to him. Yuno knelt down on one knee before the homeless god. But today, for the first time in his life, he wanted to use his power for someone. The goddess was shocked. He wants to see her smile. That's why he took action. The young man asked the goddess to make a pact with him. The students were surprised that he was doing it for real and not making fun of them. The hero extended his hand and asked if she wanted to try. If the glory of the god is proportional to his power, then with his power he can raise the glory of this goddess. He just doesn't want to see her sad face. The girl took the boy's hand. He kissed her hand and everything around began to glow. The girl's outfit and appearance changed and she asked him to give her a name. She smiled brightly. This is the face that Hero wanted to see. He gave her the name Athena. Tears do not suit her. From now on, he will always protect her. Athena asked the guy to tell her his name. He introduced himself and thought that from now on, he would start behaving a little more seriously. And so the curtain of a new myth opened. Saw Yuno. They whispered that he had made a pact with a homeless god. Everyone said that he would regret it. Athena turned to the guy and asked for forgiveness, because it was all because of her. Yuno thought that she was cute, and said that everyone was simply amazed by her beauty. She asked him not to make fun of her. She asked if he regretted making an agreement with her. The young man answered negatively, and said that he was even happy on the contrary. It was just a few days since he made an agreement with God, and since then he became famous in the academy. Not as the first year who made a pact with a homeless god, but rather as the guy who beat up the Earl's second son. He was remembered as the student who got suspended on the first day of school for violence. Yuno was sitting in class. Athena was watching him from behind the door. The hero noticed this and waved to her. The goddess was incredibly happy. The hero apologized to the girl, but she in turn told him to be careful of Morrow and his friends. They were going to have a training battle this afternoon. They could use it to get revenge. The guy asked her not to worry, because now Athena is with him. Today, at the training battle, he will show everyone his powers that Athena gave. His main goal is to glorify the former homeless god, Athena, who was mocked for her uselessness. In this fight, he will prove everyone wrong. One of the blessings he received from Athena is spear mastery. It is literally an ability that allows one to wield a spear well. However, he was also born with a powerful blessing from Zeus. Zeus gifted him with immense power that is impossible for a normal mortal to bring to life. By winning a clear victory with her spear, word will spread that Athena isn't so useless after all. Today's mock battle will be the first step in the route to raising Athena's reputation. If word gets out, more people will want to make a deal. And then she will become more famous. It seems that homeless gods can change their appearance if they have a body. However, his goddess cannot do this because her popularity is low. He doesn't want to have to wait outside like this. He will make sure that she can dematerialize and become invisible. Athena noticed the guy's gaze on her and smiled. The boy thought that she was cute. His classmates noticed that Yuno was too often in the clouds. And finally, their training fights began. While in the arena, the goddess asked the guy not to overwork himself. He replied that everything was fine. With the ability she gave him, they had no chance. The girl would root for him. Maro looked menacingly at the guy. Soleil told everyone to line up. Today will be their first training god. In order to avoid dangerous incidents, they prepared wooden weapons. In addition, they can only use basic-level magic spells. They can choose any opponent for a one-on-one fight. If they don't want to choose, they will do it for them. Maro approached Yuno. He challenges him to a duel. Athena watches the events unfold. The students discussed possible outcomes of the battle. Maro noted the boy's determination and that he was not afraid. Yuno said that he should not be underestimated. He made a pact with the goddess. Mediocrity coupled with uselessness. Maro noted that he was still no match for him. The teacher announced the start of the fight. The Count's son used Wind Blade. Alice shouts at the boy to dodge. Whatever powers God gave him, the Maro family has a gift for magic. It's too dangerous to attack head-on. However, Yuno reflected the magic with his spear. Alice was shocked by this. Maro says that this is impossible and is going to use the spell again, but Yuno was right next to him and raised his spear to strike. And the next moment, he struck the Count's son in the stomach. This is the first time he has used that power on his own. Athena was shocked. The students concluded that Maro had lost instantly. The Count's son sat on his knees and coughed. Yuno looked at his hands. He realized that he could, when he wanted to. He remembered the incident with his sister. He once nearly killed his sister during an accidental burst of power. Although he could freely control the power Zeus gave him, the limits of this power are unknown. But now he feels satisfaction from Maro kneeling before him. When he learns to use this power, then. However, he did not have time to finish his thought. Someone called him. It was Athena. She said it was amazing. Then it hit the guy. Athena is with him. He smiled. He shouted that the spear she was giving him was really cool. As long as she is with him, he feels that he is on the right path. Maro's friend told the boy not to get cocky. He's his next opponent. Yuno understood that he would have to open his eyes. He easily defeated all his opponents. They were all lying on the ground. Had he overdone it? Turning and looking at Athena, he realized that this was it. Because today was the first step in Athena's new life. The Academy is talking about nothing but his stunning victory in the training battles. As he planned, now all the students of the Academy have ordered their gaze to Athena. But on the other hand, for some reason he became known as a, quote, sneaky bully. Athena asked the boy to look at her. Now, she can float in the air. Yuno understands that the more popular she is, the stronger she becomes. One of the boys said that the useless Astario thinks too much of himself. Athena's reputation in the Academy is growing, but at the same time, bad rumors about him have stopped spreading. There is no point in worrying about it now. Besides, for the sake of the goddess's smile, he can brush aside a couple of bad rumors. Alice told Yuno that it was time for them to go. He asked if the next class would be in a different room. The girl realized that the guy had not listened to Teacher Soleil. The hero noted that these classes were simply boring. Today they will have a, quote, partner search at the Religious Female Academy Felice next door. The young man did not understand the meaning of this event. Felis Religious Girls Academy. A prestigious academy for young girls. Most of the students are from aristocratic families. The students of the Magic Knights Academy will become Knights of the Girls Academy students and will protect them. Today they will decide who they will serve. The young man asked about how they can serve the students of another academy, when they will find their partners, and will accompany them from and to the academy. And during classes, they will work in pairs. Yuno asked how it was determined who he would be paired with. Was this really a chance for him to meet a girl? Alice replied that there were established rules through partner search. Usually, the search for a partner takes place in the auditorium of the Girls' Academy. The students of the Girls' Academy have received information about them in advance, so they can choose their knight. In fact, the knight's side is much more passive. Yuno realized that they were choosing in advance who they would communicate with. He would look forward to it. He wonders if anyone would talk to him out of pity. Considering all the rumors about him, Athena, noticing the guy's sad face, asked how he was feeling. He replied that he was simply admiring the building. "Look for a bride in Foolish Joe" was a phrase he had once heard. It was only natural that girls would prefer to marry a good knight than some stranger. They've probably only heard bad things about him. What if he doesn't get picked? Besides, there are usually a lot of girls in the arena. Suddenly, the guy stopped. Alice asked why he was slowing down. Then she forcibly took him with her. All the students of the academy started whispering when they saw Alice. They were happy to see her. The girl greeted them back. As expected of the daughter of Marquis Rose, one of the 4 strongest families, Alice mentioned that she originally wanted to go to a girls' academy. One of the students asked about who was accompanying her. She replied that it was her friend, Juno Astario, and next to him the goddess Athena, with whom Juno had recently made an agreement. All the girls surrounded the goddess and began to discuss her beauty. Alice left to find her friends, and the hero was simply ignored. He needs to continue to raise the reputation of the goddess. But first, he needs to talk to the girls and improve his reputation. Yuno met 2 girls, greeted them, and started talking about the weather. The young man asked them if they had already decided which of the knights they would stay with. They answered that they had not yet. But if you think about it, one of them would choose Mrs. Alice, but many would fight for her. Alice is really popular. Another girl said that she would choose Mr. Crime. He is the 2nd most popular after Alice. Yuno does not know his last name, but he is probably from a good family. The guy tried to find out the girls' opinions about him. They said that he is not an option at all. They say that he is from a respected family, but the most incompetent member of the Astario family in history. The girls tried to find out the guy's name, but he had already left. Yuno had no idea that he was hated so much. He sat down near the wall and thought that at this rate he would be left alone. Suddenly, he heard someone arguing. He noticed that the girls were arguing. Someone was shouting that she was too impolite for the eldest daughter of the Marquis family. So this is what a girls' school really looks like. The boy had a feeling that he shouldn't see this. But what was the matter? These 3 must have an advantage over her alone. The victim of this quarrel said that she would repeat it one more time. She told them to leave. They are an eyesore here. The girl would make her pay for what she had done. She replied that she couldn't wait. However, even with such a crowd, they would fail. Were they really going to use a group spell on her? She really wanted to try it on herself. The girl told her rival that she would regret it. One of the girl's assistants began to draw a circle on the floor. The Marquis's daughter asked them if they understood what they were doing. Goblins started to appear from the circle. Another girl says that this will teach her a good lesson. As long as these terrible demons torment her, she will regret that she decided to insult them. She wished her a pleasant time. Yuno was about to help the girl when she suddenly commanded the goblins to stop. She added that if they don't do it, they will regret it. The monsters stopped. The hero was shocked. The goblins looked at each other, and the next moment they rushed at the girl. The Marquis's daughter resigned herself and reached for her weapon. She took out a blade and put it to her neck. She said that she would not be given up alive. Yuno stopped her and snatched the weapon from her hands. She looked at him, and the hero deftly defeated the monsters that surrounded the girl. The young man landed nearby. The girl turned to the guy. The young man stood up, handed the blade to the girl, and said that he was just passing by. She took the weapon and said that it seemed she should thank him. Yuno went to the door. The girl asked if the young man would like to introduce himself. He replied that he was not worthy of introducing himself. It reminded him of his sister. His sister noticed the guy's talent and, putting a sword in his neck, said that she would rather die than live with such shame. If his sister hadn't done something like that then, he would now be living a carefree life. So his 6th sense tells him, better not mess with her. He needs to get out of here. Stop getting himself into trouble. The girl said that her name was Luna Flame. The hero was silent. Luna asked if he was really going to remain silent after Kona had introduced herself. Yuno turned to the girl and said that he was the 2nd son of Count Bjorn. His name was Maro Bjorn. He bowed and said that he was pleased to meet her. Yuno, standing alone in the center of the assembly hall, where the search for a partner is taking place, suggests that this is all barrier magic. He has been visiting Felice for the past week to find a partner. Not a single girl has even said hello to him, let alone approached him. Athena tells the boy not to worry. She was sure that someone would realize how wonderful he was. Suddenly, they heard a noise and looked over. Alice was surrounded by girls who asked her to become their knight. Athena noticed that Alice was popular. Yuno said that she was the daughter of one of the 4 most influential families and the best in the class. If he were in this academy, he would also choose her without hesitation. Alice left the girls and said that she had already decided who to choose as a partner. She had dreamed of becoming this man's sword since childhood, and they worked to become stronger, all for this purpose. But if they were looking for a partner, she could recommend her childhood friend, Yuno. The girls who surrounded her disappeared in an instant. Alice and Yuno met each other's eyes. The girl encouraged the boy. Yuno realizes that some people are approached by more than one girl, and there are those who are also deprived of attention. Is he the only one who feels so pathetic? In the corner, he notices Maro. They met each other's eyes, and Maro asked why no one had approached him yet. The hero noted that he was in the same situation. Maro told him not to compare him to himself. He just turned down a few girls. He's popular. Yuno knows he's definitely lying, but in his case it's entirely possible. Maro tells him not to worry, because even those who are left without a partner will be helped. If the search for a partner fails, he will be paired with someone in the same situation. This system allows you to not be seen as a loser without a princess, to protect you until graduation. So the guy is lucky. Yuno realized that he wouldn't be the most popular person anyway. If it was just his reputation, it wouldn't matter. But what would others think of a goddess who made a contract with a loser? He didn't want to disgrace the goddess like that. However, she had already started to act. Athena offered the girls to become the princess of Mr. Yuno. She listed his good qualities. The hero realized that she was trying her best. And why did he show weakness? He headed to the center of the room. He shouldn't act like that. He asked the girl if he could become their knight. He is Yuno of the Astario house. The girls whisper to each other, and the young man asks to let him protect them. A girl came up to him and asked if he remembered her. He answered yes, and then apologized for disappearing so suddenly. The girl stopped the guy and apologized for saying such things to him. I don't know that he is Yuno. The guy accepted her apology. The girl is happy about it. The girl introduced herself as Einstat. Yuno realized that the conversation was going smoothly so far and decided to introduce himself as well. It seemed that Aina had chosen him as her knight. The boy sat down on one knee and was about to introduce himself. Suddenly the door to the hall opens and someone comes in. Everyone turned to look at the person entering. Everyone was in shock. They couldn't believe what was happening. Into the hall of the hall is Luna Flame, whom everyone calls Lonely Moon. Yuno recognized this girl. The hero asked what kind of nickname Lonely Moon this was. Aina was surprised that he did not know Mrs. Moon. He replied that he knew her name, but did not understand why everyone was so surprised. She bears the name of one of the 4 strongest families, the daughter of Marquis Flame, Luna Flame. It is incredible that she appeared here. Yuno clarified the reason for such surprise. Aina explains that from the very day of admission, she clearly stated that she would not participate in the, quote, search for a partner. Another well-known misanthrope. 2 knights approached Luna. They knelt down and greeted her. They were Alice and Krim Elrod. All the students understood who Alice was talking about. Yuno thought that Alice was from the Rose family, one of the 4 great families. He wouldn't be surprised if they had good relations. And crime. He had heard a lot about him. House Elrod is a famous family that prides itself on its courage, just like House Astario. And with a face like that, it's no wonder he attracted so much attention from the girls. Luna greeted Alice. She asked her if Luna might have changed her mind about a partner. She answered that she still wanted to be alone. But because of some rules, having a knight was still necessary. Rather than wait for someone unknown to be picked out for her, she would prefer to make that decision herself. Alice asks permission to be with her. As promised, she developed her abilities. In this room, she is the strongest. Crime also wanted to introduce himself, but Luna interrupted him, saying that such rumors had indeed reached her ears. She knows that Alice will be the best in her class, a commendable achievement. But is the knight sure that she is the strongest in this room? People didn't understand what she was talking about. Luna added that truly strong people are not proud of their strength. Alice asked about who is really strong here. Luna called Maro Bjorn's name. Alice was shocked by these words. Crime was upset that he was not allowed to get a word in. Maro was shocked by this statement. Luna told him to leave. Maro stood up from his seat, made some sarcastic comments to Yuno, and walked towards the girl. He told her that he had come, as she had said. Before her was Maro Bjorn, the second son of Count Bjorn. There was an awkward silence. The young man was very proud of himself. Luna apologized and asked who this guy was. Alice said that he was Maro Bjorn. Lonely Moon realized what was going on. She asked her friend if she knew a student with black hair. He had a rather attractive face, but his eyes were foggy. Alice understood who they were talking about. Luna asked to bring this guy to her. The knight grabbed the boy by the scruff of his neck and brought him forward. She introduced him as Yuno Astario. Luna laughed and noted that he was famous. She decided to give him a chance. Luna Flame asked the boy to become her knight. Maro was indignant. Mrs. Flame told him that he could leave already. Alice asked why she chose Yuno instead of her. She answered that he simply interested her. Maro informed her that there was some mistake. Yuno was the talentless third son of the Astario family. Luna added that he was also the one who had caused the bloodbath during the training matches. Maro added that he was the only first year who had made an agreement with a god. In fact, he only has one ability, spear mastery. Take away the spear from him, and all that's left is a talentless man who can't wield a sword or magic. Yuno silently tells Maro to shut up. Luna asks that logically, if you give him a dagger, he will be completely helpless. Maro answered positively. Yuno won't be able to scratch even a goblin. After all, spear mastery only works on long objects. Luna said that it was incredibly intriguing. She approached Yuno and said that she was looking forward to his answer. The hero noted that the aura of nobility and beauty around her was quite refreshing. He won't let them take her heart. She's too much like his sister after all. He thinks that becoming a Knight of the Moon is a bad idea. But what else can he do? He looks towards Athena. She is his last chance. He informed Luna that he had already decided to become this lady's knight. Athena looked at the boy questioningly. He asked her to talk to the moon for him. The goddess understood everything and was inspired. She introduced herself and said that she had decided to become Mr. Yuno's partner. Luna asked what class this girl was from. Athena replied that she was from the first, to which Lady Flame replied that they did have classes of flower, bird, wind, and moon. Luna told the boy to give up and not to disgrace his family. Yuno understands that his reputation will only get worse. There is nothing to be done. Athena apologized for not being able to help, but she's glad he finally found someone. Mrs. Luna will be a wonderful princess. Alice asked Mrs. Luna to answer the last question. Does she really believe that Yuno's skills are superior to hers? Luna answered something that is hard for her to say, but personally she thinks that this man is not at all untalented. Yuno wonders why Alice decided to go to the Academy of Magic Knights. He couldn't know that it was because of the promise she made to Luna. Who would have thought that Luna would be the one to extend her hand to him? Alice told him that if he even scratched her, he would have to deal with her. Yuno needed to take an oath. He got down on one knee. He, Yuno Astario, the third cheese of the Astario family, swears to be Luna Flame's sword from this day forward and promises to protect her. Luna replied that she definitely wouldn't let him get bored. The menacing man told Yuno to leave. He bowed, apologized for disturbing him, and went to the exit. Luna stopped him. Marquise Flame's estate. Luna tells her father that they wanted to have a slightly different conversation. She chose her knight. After all, he was the one who insisted that anyone will do. Agros did not like her choice, saying that it was the incompetence of the Astario family. He heard that even his father thought his son was a laughingstock. To be born into a family of valiant warriors, from which many holy swords came, but to be unable to wield a sword or magic. It was a disgrace. He could not become a knight. Luna told her father that it was Yuno Astario who saved her life. How dare he call her savior a mediocrity? Yuno also made a pact with the goddess Athena and obtained spear mastery. As a result, he caused a bloodbath for his classmates in a mock battle. Agros assumes that this is just another false rumor from the students. The man realized what god the girl was talking about. As soon as he made a pact with the unknown god, he proved that he had no bright future ahead of him. Even though he convinced his daughter he would never accept him as a knight, and told the hero to leave. Yuno did not tolerate the insult of the goddess. He stepped forward and noted that he was still young and inept, but in his skills with a spear he was second to none. The young man offered the man to fight him. He would be pleasantly surprised by his abilities. Luna said that it was a good idea, and she gave him her permission to take her father's life. Agros told them not to underestimate him. He asks the boy to prove that he is truly capable of saving her daughter's life. But he will not be the one fighting. His opponent will be his weakest servant. If he can defeat him, he will recognize him as his daughter's knight. Yuno stood in the arena with a spear in his hands. Luna told him that she would not accept his surrender. The young man does not know whether it is a sixth sense or simple observation, but it seems that Luna does not doubt his true abilities. Yuno agreed with the lady and said that he will win this fight, including in the name of the goddess. An old man came to the battlefield and apologized for being late. He said that it was an honor to fight him in a duel. His name was Claude. When he heard that Lady Luna had chosen a knight, he was beside himself with happiness. The hero doesn't want to fight the old man seriously. He wonders how far he can go. Claude asks Mr. Argos if he's sure. He tells him not to hold back. Luna told the boy to give it his all. The fighters begin the fight on the signal. Yuno senses something is wrong. Claude decided to give the boy some advice. Agros announced the start. If he thinks that Claude is just a decrepit bag of bones, then the young man is deeply mistaken. The next moment, the butler was already behind the boy. He attacked the guy, but the young man deftly dodged. The man began to shower the guy with blows, but the hero repelled them. He was surprised that the man was called the weakest. Agros is surprised that Yuno was able to dodge twice. The protagonist realizes that his grandfather is right. He initially underestimated him. The guy decided to take things a little more seriously. He parried the butler's attack again. Claude was surprised. Their weapons touched. Claude asks who the guy is. Who called him talentless anyway? Yuno answers that he doesn't know, but it's better for the butler to answer who called him weakest. Agros yells for Claude to finish him off. Luna notices that it would be better if they moved a little slower. She sees nothing. Claude notices that it looks like this will be a tough fight for them. Yuno realizes that it's not enough yet. And he even fights a little seriously. Claude said that he is attacking. Yuno will definitely defeat him this time. Claude found himself next to the guy and kneed him in the stomach. Then he turned around and kicked him in the side. The hero began to fall, but he was smiling. He understands that he can fight this man a little more seriously. Luna looked at everything that was happening without expressing any emotions. Agros praised the employee and noted that he had been playing with him for a long time. Yuno does not know for sure what he is capable of. He can control the power to the limit of his capabilities, but does not know how to use it. Skill battles, goblins. So far, it had been just small stuff, and yes, he had managed with minimal effort. But this time, how much could he push this man? Luna said that the match is not over yet. She approached the hero and noted that it wasn't that she didn't like his restraint in battle. Quite the opposite. But he must remember that he is a knight that she personally chose. He cannot lose until she gives him permission to do so. Yuno thought that this was an absurd demand, but strangely enough, it doesn't offend him at all. Luna told the guy to stop lying down and get up. The hero noticed a slight smile on the girl's face. She told him that she knew he could. The hero jumped up. He thought that it was simply unfair to make such a face. If only she would just stay like that, as usual. He looked at her and she became emotionless again. Yuno told her that she was changing quickly. The girl didn't understand what he was talking about. The guy stood up. Claude was surprised that he still had the strength to stand up. Now he understood why Mrs. Luna was so interested in him. The man had warned the boy that he would not hold back this time. His lord wanted him to win. Yuno noted this coincidence. The young lady seemed to be making him win as well. Claude gives him one last piece of advice. Keep an eye on him. The young man decides to give him an answer too. Try to dodge. The young man decides to try something. He raises his spear to strike. Claude is shocked. And the next moment, the young man throws a spear at the butler. He managed to dodge. However, the spear left a huge hole in the ground. Agros is shocked by what happened, and Luna smiled silently. Claude said that he was giving up. Agros fell to his knees at these words. He was shocked that his Claude had lost to Yuno. The hero thought that now a man would not be able to insult a goddess. Luna approached the guy and told him that he could be proud of himself. He defeated the only knight her father ever had. Yuno was surprised to be called the weakest. Luna said that Claude was actually the head of the royal knights. They say that at that time he was not inferior even to the saints of the sword, including his father. Yuno was surprised that a man was equal to his father. How could he be called weak at all? Yuno wondered why the lady did not tell him about this. She replied that it was a great chance to find out what he was worth. Now the hero would not be able to justify himself if he lost. Yuno noted that it was impossible to relax in the company of this woman. Luna turned to her father and asked if he understood her decision now. He turned around and told her to do what she wanted. And so their day began. He officially became a Knight of the Moon. The girl asked the guy if he was happy about it. At first he was afraid to look her in the eyes, but serving a famous daughter of one of the 4 great noble families, he thinks that this is a good option for him and the goddess. And now he will probably spend more time with Luna. The guy answered that he was of course glad. The girl asked him who she was to him. He answered that he was a wonderful and beautiful lady. The girl liked this answer, and she called him to show him his room. The young man was perplexed. He asked about what she had just said. Luna answered that from that day on, he would live with them. Isn't that natural for her knight? A little girl asks Yuno who he is. He answers that he is the young lady's newly minted knight. He is also interested in who this girl is. It turned out to be Luna's younger sister. The hero noticed that she was a miniature version of her. Agros officially recognized him as his daughter's knight, and from today on, he will live here in the Flame family estate. Luna told him to wait in the room, then left and hasn't returned yet. She's probably looking for her sister. He hopes they didn't miss each other. He looked at the girl who was still laughing, although she was cute. The girl brought him a glass of drink and put it on the table. She apologized for making him wait. Yuno thought that the girl was young, but she knew how to greet a guest. The guy thanked her. He had never been served by someone so young. The girl sat on the guy's lap, then turned around and said that he had a strange aura. The aura, although strange, for some reason is not afraid of him. The young man thought that he had never been told that he was scary. The girl got up from the guy's lap, stood in front of him, stretched out her arms, and told the guy to pick her up. He was surprised, but the next moment he picked up the girl and started spinning her around. She laughed loudly. Then the girl asked the guy to hug her tightly. The hero is confused. He started to refuse. It would be bad for all of them if his head was cut off for this. Besides, he was older, so he was asking the girl for forgiveness this time. However, Luna's sister began to manipulate that she would tell her sister that her brother confessed his love for little girls like her. The boy hugged the girl. This child scares Yuno. They continue hugging. The guy asks the girls to stop, because if Luna sees them, it will be bad. Suddenly, Luna came into the room. She saw his sister and Yuno hugging. There was shock on her face. The sister ran to Luna, hugged her, and told her that she was so scared. Yuno tried to justify himself. Luna saw the glass and asked what it was. Was it really the glass she gave him? The hero confirmed it. Luna understood what Eris had done. The girl told her sister to introduce herself. She is the second daughter of the Flame family, Eris Flame. It is her happiness to meet him. Luna told the boy not to worry. She guessed what Eris was trying to do. But she's still surprised. She's usually shy around strangers. Even when her father tries to approach her, she just runs away with her tail between her legs. Even his father is treated as a stranger. Changing the subject, the young man asked why he had to wait here. Luna said that she should be here any minute. Athena appeared from behind the door. The guy exclaimed joyfully. The goddess did not remain on the sidelines. Eris threw herself into the goddess's arms and told her that she was very beautiful. Her skin is so soft and her hair is silky. The servant said that she was wandering around the estate, so she took her with her. They are in the process of preparing a room for Lady Athena. The young man was surprised. Would the goddess really live here too? Luna asked if she shouldn't have done it. The guy is actually very grateful. She is the one who helps him move forward. Lady Athena. The guy confirmed the girl's words. She looked at him. Suddenly, another girl entered the room. She asked if this was really the Knight of the Moon. Luna confirmed this. The woman who entered was Luna's mother. The young man was embarrassed by her appearance. He got down on one knee and started introducing himself. The woman said that she was the wife of the Marquis Flame, Charlotte Flame. The young man thought that she was so beautiful that he was ready to fall in love with her right then and there. She heard rumors that her husband had caused him trouble. She would definitely talk to him about it. The young man began to understand who was in charge in the house. The woman did not think that her daughter would find herself a knight. Luna asked what was wrong with that. Charlotte said she was just a little surprised. Eris said it wasn't fair. She wanted that guy too. Luna said it wasn't right. He was hers. The girl grabbed the guy by the leg. She screamed that she liked him too. The hero thought that she was cute, but pushed these thoughts away. Luna herself chose him as her knight. No wonder she likes him. Then, Charlotte remembered what she wanted to ask the hero. She turned to Athena and told her what she had heard about her. The goddess jumped up and began to introduce herself. Charlotte noted the beauty of Athena and added that if her goddess would be surprised to see her. The young man clarified the words about her goddess. He suggested that she too had made a pact with God. Charlotte confirmed this. Her agreement was with Lady Astaroth, the goddess of love and beauty. The guy was pleasantly surprised. As soon as he met Mrs. Charles, he immediately realized that she was an unusual person. Amazing. She made a pact with such an incredibly famous god. Goddess of love and beauty. Astaroth. Everyone knows this name. Even he knows her name. Or not. Suddenly he turned to the goddess. She sat and trembled. Her face was gloomy. He asked her what was the matter. Luna and Charlotte looked worried. Athena began to apologize to the guy. Suddenly, a crack appeared in space. Yuno turned in that direction. The crack began to suck everything in. The hero did not lose his head and told everyone to step back. He could not understand what it was. Maybe magic. But then it dawned on him. Everything is for a reason. Suddenly, someone appeared from the crack. This someone asked what was going on. Are they talking about her? Charlotte smiled. Lady Astaroth appeared before them. The goddess greeted them. While protecting Athena, Yuno did not understand what this terrifying power was. Charlotte recognized Mrs. Astaroth. The goddess, in turn, emphasized that they had not seen each other for a long time. She asked how she was doing. But what was behind that smile? Charles confirmed that they hadn't seen each other for a long time. They hadn't met like this for 3 years. So that's what she is like, the goddess of love and beauty. Charlotte was beginning to think that the goddess would never visit her again. Astario replied that she was her favorite and that it was impossible. Yuno leaned over to Athena and said that everything was fine now. This was the goddess Astario. However, the girl did not feel better. She continued to tremble. Astario approached her and asked who she was. Athena looked at her with eyes full of fear and despair. She tried to say something, but it didn't work. Charlotte introduced her. Astaroth repeated the girl's name. Then she asked about whether this young lady was not a homeless goddess. So who gave her the name Athena? Yuno replied that he did. Astaroth realized that it was him. She approached him and asked why he called her Athena. The young man answered that he himself did not know. The goddess grinned. She touched the boy's shoulder. She had one more question for him. With a creepy look, she asked about who was inside him. The hero looked at the goddess with incomprehension. Charlotte, Luna, and Eris watched the events unfold, and Yuno asked the goddess again about what was inside him. The girl remained silent and then turned away. Yuno does not understand what she wants. What is she trying to tell him? The next moment, the goddess turned around, stretched out her hand, and said that it was boring. She shot the guy. The hero remained unperturbed, and then he parried the attack with his foot. He understands that he will have to respond with full force. He redirects Astaroth's attack with his foot. The goddess was shocked by what was happening. Charlotte asked her about the reason for her actions. There was a hole in the wall of the mansion. The hero stood and protected Athena. Astaroth smiled creepily, and then she laughed happily and said that the guy had passed. Yuno and Athena looked at her in bewilderment. Charles asked what past meant. The goddess simply did not surprise a woman so much. This guy is now her daughter's knight. She didn't know if he was right for the role, so she came to check him out herself. Luna got herself a great knight. Her daughter has a diamond eye. Having said this, Astaroth was about to leave. She had to go about her business. She said that she would see Yuno Astario again, and then disappeared. Yuno breathed a sigh of relief. It was his first time seeing the goddess Astaroth. He was worried, but now he felt like an idiot for thinking like that. Athena apologized to the boy for making him worry. The goddess Astaroth came only to make sure of his strength because he is a knight of the Lady Moon. The hero asked about the goddess's health, so she answered that she was fine. At the moment when the goddess told him that they would see each other again, it seemed to him that she was not quite a goddess. A man sits on a chair in the center of the circle and says that he is bored. He was irritated. Astaroth said that he still had the same irritated, sullen face. The man asked her the reason for her visit. She, not intending to answer, said that, after all, the divine dimensions were so far away, she was surprised at how he was sitting here alone. She would have been bored in his place. The man repeated his question again. Their eyes met. She said that she had one question. Who are the homeless gods? She knows that there are gods without names, born in the lower world, and they appeared at about the same time that they descended there. But maybe the man is hiding something interesting from her. The man looked at her menacingly. She began to say that it was cruel to hide such subtleties from her friend. As soon as she came here, she was already bored to death. She assumed that the man was also dying of boredom. Even having gotten everything, having become the heroes of the world, he is still not satisfied. She is not either. They are too strong. In a world where no one is even close to them, they will inevitably become bored. So what should they do? Lucifer told the girl to shut up. Astaroth attacked the man, but he caught the attack in his hand without straining. The girl wanted to say that the man was really strong. Suddenly, her own attack flew at her. Lucifer stood up from his seat. The girl crashed into the wall. Astaroth told him that you can't just hit a woman in the face and noted that he had a terrible character. Lucifer asked what happened in the lower world. The girl answered that nothing. The man turned around and was about to leave, when suddenly the girl said that she was not at all equal to him, the supreme god. Or maybe another name would suit him better. She addressed the man as Demon Lord Satan. The man stopped and looked over his shoulder. Suddenly, the man left. Astaroth noted that she could look for answers herself. Besides, she found an interesting toy for herself, and she has fun with it to the fullest. To think that there was a person who could repel her attack. She said that she had high hopes for Yuno Astario. Little Yuno is sitting in the library and studying books. He was looking for information about a god named Zeus. He is hardly a homeless god. Suddenly, the boy was engulfed in flames. He was in a lot of pain. After a few minutes, the pain subsided. He decided to find out about God later. He wasn't such a problem. He was born with powers beyond what a person can control. This is the bigger issue for him. The baby Juno cried when he saw Zeus. Zeus told him that he would not eat him and that there was nothing to fear. But if he allowed it, the god had a request for the child. He wanted to make an agreement with him. He will give him his power, and he will be able to use it without restrictions. The man asked the baby whether he wants it or not. The boy was surprised that everything was so simple and agreed. It seems he was in a hurry then, but it's too late to regret. The man said that his name was Zeus. Although it's pointless to address him like that now, he entrusts the rest to Yuno. The boy wonders why the old man had such a sad face. Suddenly, Mero Astario entered the room and told his son that it was time to start training. The boy apologized to his father and said that he was just looking for something. Mero said that the boy has no ability in magic, and he is also inferior in the ability to control the sword. Why is he incapable of anything? The boy left and told his father that he was going to training right now. Talentless, a failure, a disgrace to the family. The hero doesn't care what others say about him. He has no time for this at all right now. Yuno's sister, Rei Astario, trains with her brother. She noticed that he reacts quickly. The boy asked his sister to stop playing knights. It wasn't that he didn't like it. It was just that his powers were starting to awaken from the sudden attacks. The girl turned to the boy. She grabbed him by the shoulders and asked him if he really hated his older sister. The young man denied everything. The girl was happy about this and decided to move on to the next round. The boy managed to dodge the sudden attack, but something inside him shuddered. Rei noticed something the boy was doing well. He had read her movements perfectly. As his sister had predicted, there was undoubtedly a hidden talent within him. Yuno was engulfed in flames. He knew things were bad. His powers are growing. Rei asks him not to worry about what his father and the townspeople say. He will definitely become a good knight in the future. Yuno continued to call out to his sister to warn her of the danger. His power was out of control. A bright flash illuminated everything around. The girl was in shock. The boy reacted quickly and managed to stop his own attack and save his sister. When it was all over, the girl asked the boy what it was. He asked his sister about her condition. She, in turn, admired the fact that he protected his older sister. She rushed to hug him and thank him, and the boy himself thought that he had simply corrected his own mistake. Suddenly, Rei bursts into her father's office. She is outraged that he wants to expel Yuno from the family. Father justifies this by saying that there is no place for mediocrities in their family. Not in the Astario house. Expulsion from the house of Astario. He has been waiting for this for a long time. Everything is going according to plan. The unimaginable power he possesses can lead to a terrible catastrophe. He is too dangerous to coexist with other people. It's just a pity about his sister. She took such good care of him. Well, when he leaves this house, he'll be able to enjoy a quiet life, far from civilization. Suddenly he heard his father scream. Rei put her sword to her throat. She screamed that Yuno had a hidden talent. To banish Yuno when he should be the next head of the family, that would be the shame of the Astario family. She would rather die than live with such shame. Miro also believed that he could not be talentless, but he took her word for it, and what a result. It was all in vain. He didn't even try. No matter what she said, there was no chance for him to grow in the future. It would be hard for Yuno to even enter the Felice Magic Knight Academy. Rei concluded that if Yuno could enter Felice Academy, her father would stop expulsion. She walked to the table and wrote something on a piece of paper. If Yuno fails and brings shame to the family, then she swears on Astario's behalf that she will pay for it with her life. Mero agreed with his daughter and warned her that since she had sworn in the name of her family, she should not expect mercy. The girl was extremely serious. Yuno doesn't understand why his future is being decided for him. He's not lying when he says he doesn't even want to go to Felice Academy. He has to object right here and now. He can't agree to this. The boy shouts at his sister not to decide everything for him. The already grown-up Yuno suddenly jumped out of bed. He was silent for a few minutes and realized that he had dreamed it all. He decided to go back to bed. The bed was so soft and the room was spacious. It couldn't compare to the room in Astario's house. He has faced many problems so far. He has been a knight for a few days now and can live quite comfortably in the Flame Estate. The boy is glad that he now has his own room. Even getting to the academy is easier because the Flame Estate is located in the same city, the royal capital. But most importantly, he is so happy that the goddess lives next door. Until now, they were only together at the academy, but now he can meet the goddess whenever he wants. And he also heard that the goddess doesn't need to eat or sleep at all. For the first time, Athena enjoys life outside the Magic Academy in her own way. The hero is incredibly grateful to Luna. Everything would be fine if not for one problem. Eris was lying next to him in bed. He thought she was very cute. It was time to change. Eris asked the guy if he was leaving already. He answered positively and added that it was time to go to the academy. Before he knew it, his room had become Eris's playground. No privacy. Eris became sad and asked the guy if he really cared about his sister more than about her. The guy got down on one knee and said that he cared about both of them equally. He also thought highly of her. Eris asked if Yuno loved her. He confirms this. The girl asks him to say it in his own words. The girl asked the guy the question again. As soon as he poured out his heart to this devil in angelic guise, the hero said that he loved her, when suddenly Eris smiled creepily. She started casting a spell. The guy asked her what she was doing. She just smiled sweetly and snapped her fingers. That Yuno loved Lady Eris echoed throughout the estate. Marquis Flame heard this. He was furious. Claude noticed high-quality sound magic. Perhaps this is why Lady Eris is called a genius. The next moment, the man breaks down the wall and finds himself in Yuno's room. He asks him what he is doing with his daughter. The man was angry at the boy and told him to get ready. The boy mentally asked Athena to help. She appeared from the window. He noticed her and smiled. The goddess smiled back. Yuno understands that now only one person can save him. He looked at the door. Luna stood there as she sighed and told the boy to follow her. Before entering the academy, he would never have believed that he would look forward to classes. Luna, Yuno, and Aphrodite walked to the academy together. This is his everyday life now, another ordinary day. When Luna, Athena, and Yuno walked to the academy, all eyes were on Luna. They noticed how beautiful she was today. Her grace and beautiful features charmed all the students of the academy. Luna Flame belongs to one of the 4 noble families, the eldest daughter of the Flame family. She won first place in the entrance exam to Felis Girls Academy, after which she won the hearts of most of the academy's students, and was nicknamed Empress. The more he looks at these crowds, the more he understands how powerful Luna really is. On the other hand, it is true that she suffered attacks from the students who were jealous of her popularity. Yuno thought that popular people have so many problems. Athena turned to the boy. She feels that she is increasingly looked at with disdain. Yuno smiled and told the girl to raise her head and look carefully. They do not look at her with disdain, far from it. They admire her. Athena was inspired. The goddess hid behind the guy and said that she was not used to such attention. Yuno told her to follow the example of the moon. He then assumed that they felt such stares because of him. The students were discussing why Yuno became the knight of the moon. The hero had already hoped that once he became her knight, his bad reputation would evaporate. How naive he was. Yuno brought Luna to the gates of the academy and said that it was time for them to go. The girl thanked the guy and said that she was waiting for him after classes. The hero continued to turn a blind eye to this situation, and continued to improve his reputation for his goddess. And he came to the conclusion that he had not made a mistake with his choice. Arriving at the academy, Athena said that she went to pray, and the guy was left alone. He noticed that Alice and Ino were talking sweetly. Alice entered the office and greeted the guy. She asked him if Mrs. Luna was in a good mood today. He answered positively. And the guy noticed that the girl got along with Ina. He saw how they communicated recently. To be honest, he was surprised when he found out that she chose her at the viewing. The girl said to call this girl Mistress Ina. After all, she serves her. Yuno asked if they had known each other before. Alice replied that they had first met at the bride show. The young man did not expect this. Perhaps Alice was attracted by her kindness. Soleil came into the classroom. Today he will be collecting sheets of paper, confirming participation in the training camp, together with the Felisa school. Yuno didn't understand what camp they were talking about. Alice told him that today was the deadline. Didn't he know? The hero rummaged around in his desk and pulled out the necessary form, which was badly crumpled. He asked Alice if she and Mrs. Ain were also participating. The girl confirmed. The young man wrote that he confirmed his participation. Alina was surprised that Yuno had included Mrs. Luna there without prior consent. The guy said that it was just an overnight stay at the camp. Alice doesn't know what kind of fun camp he presented there, but in this camp you will have to go through a cruel test and survive on your own in the forest of divine beasts for 3 days and 2 nights. The boy was about to refuse when he caught the teacher's angry look. Soleil said that he had given enough time for discussion, or Yuno had not listened to him again. The hero asks the moon for forgiveness. She says that she is not against it. In any case, she was going to participate. 3 days and 2 nights in the Divine Beast Forest. It's basically just like camping. And she has no experience with that. She can't wait. Yuno feels like it will be very difficult for her to participate without experience. Rumor has it that Felis Girls Academy has cut the number of participants in half. Luna turned to her sister and said that she had an important conversation with Yuno and she should play with him another time. Eris said that Yuno did not mind. However, he apologized to the young lady, and the next moment he sat her on his lap. He asked her to play when they finished their conversation. Eris looked at her sister with satisfaction. There was silence in the room. Luna asked if Yuno might have wanted to say something else. The guy asked about the girl's father's consent. He had heard that all parents refused to let their children participate because they didn't want to expose them to unnecessary danger. Luna replied that in that case there was no problem. Father would refuse, of course. But mother had already given her permission. Eris asked where Yuno was going. He answered that the school was organizing a camp for them. He would go there too. The girl said that she wanted to go too. Luna told her that she couldn't, and that she had to stay home. The girl grabbed the guy and asked if he was okay with her. Luna said her sister's name menacingly. She told her to go out somewhere for a while. She was preventing her from talking. She refused and remarked that she was always getting everything. Luna herself keeps saying that she doesn't want to. The girl said that they were going there for training anyway. There was nothing unusual about this camp. Eris said that it was somehow suspicious. Yuno said that it was all his fault. Tomorrow he would go to teacher Soleil and write a refusal to participate. Luna noticed that the young man was not satisfied with the fact that he would go to the camp with him. The hero said that this was not the issue. The girl assumed that he was not interested in her. The hero realized that he had upset Mrs. Luna. and then he said that he would like to participate with her. But the Divine Beast Forest is known for being infested with low-level monsters. And it's not just goblins that live there, there are also wolf-like creatures that attack in packs. They are students of the Magic Knight Academy and they can defeat them, but he can't help but think that she will be in constant danger. Luna asked him if he was worried about it. He replied that it was natural. However, the girl said that there were no problems. After all, he would protect her. Seeing her looking at him with such a confident gaze, he could not object to her. So their boot camp began. Yuno caught a fish. The girl told him that it was a good catch. There was a lot of fat, it must be tasty. Yuno was collecting enough for 3 of them, so the girl should not overeat. He went fishing again, but then it dawned on him that he didn't know this girl who was eating his fish. He didn't understand who she was. What kind of creature was this? Yuno said that it was his fish. The beast woman praised him and continued eating. 479. The young man knelt down and asked the girl why she was here alone. It was dangerous in these surroundings. The girl just looked at him. Then she suddenly extended her hand and asked for more. Yuno sighed and told her that she could eat it all. It couldn't be helped. He decided to go and catch more fish. It was the first time he saw a person eating raw fish. However, the girl said that it was enough for her. And the next moment, a strong wind rose and the girl disappeared. Athena greeted the guy. He informed her that he had returned. The hero noticed that he liked this greeting. Luna came out of the tent and also greeted the guy. He returned faster than she expected. The guy asked if everything was okay with them. Luna said that if she said everything was fine, she would be lying. Athena confirmed it. There was no danger for them personally. On the other side, in the depths of the trees, a huge beast was staring at them. It was very huge. Athena wanted to express her assumption about this creature, but the guys interrupted her. They realized that it was a divine beast. The goddess sensed divine power. It makes sense they were in the Divine Beast Forest. Alice taught him how to set up a protective barrier, so there were no signs of penetration, and everything works fine. Apparently, the Divine does not plan to attack here. Luna said that in any case, nothing happened. First, they had to cook dinner. Yuno wanted to start cooking, but the girls stopped him. They rolled up their sleeves and said they could handle it themselves. Everyone was busy with their own affairs. So much has happened, but he is glad that they decided to come here. Alice called the guy. Aina noticed that they hadn't seen each other for a long time. The young man asked about the location of their camp. The girls answered that they were looking for a place near the hand where there would be fewer people and eventually got here. Yuno said that they also thought about such a place. Ain said that it was not for nothing that they were childhood friends. Alice said that it was just a coincidence. Then Alice turned to the boy and asked if it was okay that Mrs. Luna and Athena were cooking for him and he wasn't helping them. Yuno replied that they had asked him to start cooking. Okay, goddess, but Mrs. Moon has experience in cooking. Alice replied that Mrs. Moon always does everything perfectly. Luna told them that she hears everything. The knights apologized. Alice apologized for the intrusion and was about to leave, when the girl stopped her. Yuno suggested that they have dinner together. The lady herself was not against it. The girls agreed to join in. Suddenly, Klim came out and greeted them. He sat down on his knee and said that they had not seen each other for a long time with Lady Luna. He, the rightful heir of the Elrod house, Klim. Luna answered that she knew it and said that it would be better for them to talk later. Yuno thought that Klim was as usual. Since he was alone here, it meant that his mistress had refused to participate. The boy turned to the hero and said that they had not seen each other since the viewing. His name is Klim Elrod, the rightful heir of the Elrod house. Juno also introduced himself as Juno Astario, the third son of the Astario house. Klim extended his hand to the boy for a handshake. He shook his hand. Knight Elrod said that he had a question for Yuno. Was it really him who set up the barrier around this perimeter? The hero confirmed. Before the camp began, he had asked Alice to teach him how to set up barriers to protect against divine beasts. Athena reported that the ingredients had been prepared. Yuno suggested that Klim have dinner together. He thinks that it would be better for them to work together. The boy agreed and asked permission to take advantage of their kindness. They looked at what was ready for him and rejoiced. Athena said that it was her first time cooking, so there might be some flaws. Yuno was happy with the first dish from the goddess. It seems to him that he will eat as much as he wants now. He took a bite and then realized everything. He didn't understand why. Klim said that the dish had an exquisite taste. Athena and Luna asked the hero his opinion. He repeated Klim's words. The girls were happy and wanted to eat too. The boys looked at each other. They began to greedily stuff the fish into themselves. The girls were perplexed. Yuno said that it was very tasty and he could not resist. Klim said that they would quickly catch more fish. They ran to catch fish. Sitting in the hot springs, Yuno thanked Klim. Behind the fence, they heard the girl talking about the spring. Yuno realizes that there are girls behind this fence. He calms himself down. He needs to stop thinking that if he concentrates his magic, he can look through the fence. Suddenly, Klim turns to him. He asked if he was getting along with Mrs. Luna. He replied that at least she hadn't fired him yet. Klim said that he envies Yuno. To be honest, he was even annoyed. Yuno assumed that Klim was in love with Luna. He replied that all this time he considered these feelings to be only admiration. Ever since he was little, he had admired her. He wanted her to acknowledge his strength. That was the reason he had come this far. That was why he wanted to clarify something with him. Namely, the reason why Yuno pretends to be weak. He heard that the goddess Athena only gifted him with the spear skill. On the other hand, he alone set up a barrier in the divine land. Only high-level magic can be used in the divine land. Therefore, he has little faith that he, who is called helpless, was able to so calmly establish a barrier. In truth, among them all, only Alice possessed this magic. Yuno understood why she was smiling like that at that moment. In fact, Mrs. Luna had noticed a hidden power in him. Klim asked about the point of belittling oneself. Yuno pointed out that perhaps the hero is not helpless, but he hasn't been pretending to be one all this time, and he won't hide its power in the future. In fact, he hid it before, because he was afraid that if he relaxed for a second, he would hurt someone. Before, he didn't have a goal to become a hero. But now, it's different. Right now, he has a reason to use his power. He will make the goddess Athena the strongest. This is the path he has chosen for himself. Klim noted that he now had an unrealistic look. In that case, he, like Klim, had a reason to try. Suddenly, Klim jumped to his feet and said that he had a request. He challenged Yuno to a duel. Klim said that he wanted to go against Yuno. After all, he had already been acknowledged by Lady Luna. The young man lay in the tent and thought about the duel. Klim Elrod. During the entrance exams, he was second only to Alice in points, taking second place. However, most likely, his abilities do not exceed even the strength of the butler of the Flame House. However, the hero felt that he had to answer the challenge. He decided to sleep a little until the appointed time. On one side, Athena lay next to him. He turned over. On the other, there was Luna. The young man still could not calm down. He doesn't understand the reason for such excitement. It's not the first time he shared a bed with ladies. He used to sleep with his older sister. Although, no, that doesn't count. And yet, why do girls smell so nice? He examined Luna's body. The guy got out of bed. It was a bit early, but it was time to go. He stood up, took his things, and was about to leave when Luna asked him where he was going. He replied that he had one thing to do. The girl told him to come back quickly. The guy hopes that she didn't notice how he was staring at her. The young man came to the meeting place and saw Klim. He also decided to come early. He replied that he had decided to look at the moon. And then he suggested that they begin. Yuno asked about the rules. The guy answered that they fight until one of them gives up. The protagonist asked Klim if he was really strong. He confirmed it. However, he has a strange feeling about their fight. Yuno rushed to attack. The next moment, Yuno's spear was at Klim's throat. The boy was surprised that the hero did it in the blink of an eye. This was the hero's first victory. He got angry, swung his sword, and struck, but Yuno dodged. And Klim was once again open to Yuno's attack. This was his second victory. He asked his opponent why he didn't use magic. Klim told him not to hold back an attack. He still hasn't admitted defeat. Yuno agreed and said that he was attacking. He carried out his attack. This was Yuno's third victory. Klim fell to his knees and said that he realized everything. The hero had won. He did say that from now on he wasn't going to hide his power. Maybe he should hide it after all. Klim tells him that his power is beyond reason. And now he is even afraid of Mrs. Luna, because she immediately discovered this hidden power in him. Yuno knows that his power goes beyond the limits. He understands this like no one else. Therefore, he will only use a small portion of his power. He extended his hand to Climb, who took his hand and said that in that case it would be just right. Astaroth asked the creatures if they had already gathered. She called them to ask for something. The creatures ignored her. She attacked them and said that ignoring them is bad. They are hurting her in this way. She decided to repeat that she had one small request for them. Teacher Soleil sat on a log near the fire. He felt something. Climb invited Yuno to join the school committee. Every year, 3 of the best students are selected. Of these, the newly admitted, he and Alice had already been unofficially selected. Yuno asked about how the 3rd one would be selected. Next month, through the ability competition, the winner will join the school committee. Considering his strength, he will be the clear favorite. He will become the face of their academy. Yuno thanked for the kind words. Suddenly they felt something. Crime asked what it was. Yuno had a feeling of déjà vu. He remembered the goddess of love. The goddess was delighted that a huge army of monsters had filled this forest. The divine beast stood at the top and watched. An unexpected event has occurred in the divine beast forest. They need to take care of their safety, and urgently at the central point of the forest. Alice ran towards Yuno and Climb. She asked the boys what they were doing here. They needed to join the others quickly. A mad army of demons was attacking the forest. An angry mob of monsters is heading straight for them. The students ran to the battlefield. Yuno thinks that there can be no mistake. The whole forest is filled with vile magic. This is definitely the goddess Astaroth. The goddess says that she is full of anticipation. What will Yuno show her this time? Someone starts laughing out loud. Several people run in one direction. A girl tells Yuno that they are planning an interesting night. The main character wonders who his enemy is, God or the devil, and in order to protect what is dear to him, he will give his all. They cut down several small goblins. The forest monsters seem to have gone mad. This is only a small part. Very soon the whole army will appear here. They continue to attack the goblins. The girl asks to look at the dome in the center of the forest. The guy asks if the lady is there with the others. They answer positively. Thanks to the barrier that the teacher created, they are safe for now. Something flies in the sky from the side of the dome, then it crashes into an invisible wall. The trio looks and thinks about what it is. Some girl with wings creates an attack. She attacks a huge wolf and says that he has a fierce greeting. This is the master of the forest, Fenrir. Fenrir looks at her menacingly. The girl says that they haven't seen each other for a long time. How is he doing? He growls at her fiercely and rushes straight at her. He bites her with his mouth, but the girl jumps back. The wolf notices her and attacks the girl again. Before his arrival, she lived quite well. The girl asks Fenrir not to look at her with such eyes. At this time, in the central point under the domes, there are tents and crowds of people. The guys look up somewhere and ask, "What is that there?" The girls look up with excitement, and suddenly a guy runs up to them and addresses the goddess as his mistress. He sighs and says that it is very good that they are okay. The girl looks at Yuno with concern. Behind her, there is a massacre in the sky. The main character turns his gaze to the battle. He is familiar with these yellow and red flashes. They ask the teacher Soleil what these flashes are. He is busy with something. He reports that, based on information from the observation squad, this is a battle between the goddess Astaroth and the forest deity Fenrir. The protagonist thought so, and that's why the army of monsters appeared. The teacher fights off the goblins. The protagonist worries about him, but he asks not to worry. A message has come in that the Royal Knightly Order has come to the rescue, and with them the sacred sword, Re Astario. The protagonist looks at this in bewilderment, and the children think that they are saved. The boy asks about his sister. Are they really facing such a serious threat that they can't do without the power of the sacred sword? Astaroth tells Fenrir that he cannot be trained, his fangs are against her, even stray dogs are smarter. Fenrir thinks she should stop barking, because she is a fake. Astaroth asks if this is his prerogative, asks him to bark as loud as he can, and attacks. The wolf jumps back and runs away, but the girl makes another attack. Fenrir barely lands without falling. The wolf is about to attack the girl again, who tells him that he is stubborn. It is not for nothing that he was called the Devourer of Gods, but he cannot stop her. The children shout words of encouragement to Astaroth to destroy Fenrir. She is in the lead. Let her crush him. The boy listens to them in shock. Astaroth says that this world is ruled by faith and war. The more people believe in God, the stronger he becomes. Does he understand this perfectly well? She asks if Fenrir hears the voices of people, none would support him. The protagonist asks what they are talking about. The teacher informs that the goddess Astaroth is a hero among the gods. The main character wants to argue. Maybe they are right. Astaroth is a hero who saved the world from the Demon King. And to stop Fenrir, who summoned an army of monsters, she came to help. There is nothing strange about this at all. Then he smiles and starts laughing, shaking. He doesn't understand that he was trying to refute such an ideal scenario. He has no name. He is a wandering god. The girl is asked if she is a loser goddess. She explains to the guy that if he signs a contract with a famous goddess, he will be able to change lives, but she is not his choice. The protagonist extends his hand to the goddess and asks if she could become his goddess, and she asks his name. The guy remembers everything connected with her, and several times in his thoughts repeats that it is impossible, the feelings that he is experiencing now. They are not at all wrong. The main character confidently addresses the goddess and is about to say something. The goddess turns around with a strange look. The protagonist looks at her in surprise as she approaches him. Suddenly, for the main character, she came up to him and hugged him. The main character continues to stand in a stupor from this. Everyone stares at the guy who awkwardly addresses the goddess. She wants to ask him for something. The goddess asks the boy to save this little one, he asks again. She explains that, having made a pact many years ago, she constantly protects this forest. Astaroth attacks Fenrir, who falls down, already without strength. The goddess looks at this in surprise. The protagonist looks at the goddess in surprise and notices that, surprisingly, she is crying. The protagonist clutches his weapon and realizes that he must go. Teacher Soleil barely holds back the goblin's attack. The protagonist notices this. At this rate, the teacher's magic power will run out. The army of monsters is already approaching. Where is the knightly order? One of them asks Alice to help the teacher. He is right. The protagonist looks at the unperturbed girl, who says that there are a lot of monsters, and asks if he can cope somehow. The guy looks at the girl, who in turn looks at him. Then he closes his eyes and says that he will definitely cope with everything. The goddess suddenly waves her hands and asks him to wait. She apologizes to the guy and informs him that she suddenly said something unnecessary. The guy asks her not to worry. She will stop Astaroth and come back. She shouts at him that a man can't control her. But the guy denies it. The guy smiles and says that he can do it, because she awarded him this power. The girl looks at him with excitement and says the name. He will do everything for his goddess. Even if he has to defeat a god to do this, what kind of future awaits the main character? He goes with a weapon in his hands, right in the midst of the battle. All the people are still watching in amazement as the two powerful individuals fight, their auras colliding in the air. A deadly battle between two deities takes place. As if from a fairy tale world, the goddess is worried about the outcome of the battle. At this time in the royal watchtower, people are watching the fight. One says that the guardian of the forest, Fenrir, how could the god who protects the forest go crazy? The gods have changed. They no longer care about promising children. What is the purpose of Fenrir? In some tales, Fenrir was an evil god who gained power by devouring gods, trying to swallow the entire world in his mouth, a devil incarnate. Moreover, the gods worshipped by the royals and those in power claim that Fenrir may pose a threat to them in the future. One way or another, Fenrir will eventually fall. This is because today's battle involves the heroic goddess Astaroth, who saved this world. And, for the same reason, Fenrir will become an enemy for all of humanity. There are still many people standing in the dome. The goddess asks the girl why she let Yuno go. Did she also think that there was no point in stopping? She thought about it too. The girl thinks that it's not that she couldn't stop him. She didn't even try. The girl only asked where he was going. He told Alice that he had to go. This is the second time she sees this look. Usually he acts stupidly. It feels like he is stupid. But when he looks at her with a determined look, she sees a real man in him. The first time she saw that look was when Yuno made a pact with the goddess Athena. And now he has the same look. Both girls are concerned about the state of the main character. The goddess informs him that he will definitely return, because she has not yet given him the order to die. She also wants to believe in Yuno, however. The boy says that he has already left, so Alice can't do anything anymore. Even someone like Yuno would never think of going to his death. He would probably understand that he was weak and would return back. but he doesn't know how it will really be. The blonde guy suggests that Alice take a little rest. He is right. Yuno will return unharmed. He will definitely cope. He asks them not to say this so easily. She screams and asks them if they understand that Yuno is walking straight into the heat of battle. It's no use. She can't act cool now. They're probably worried too. The guy tells her she's right. Perhaps, if he had not known him at all, he would have considered his recklessness stupidity and even begun to despise him. However, now everything is different. He has no confirmation of these words, but he is sure that Yuno will return alive. At least his instinct tells him so. The main character sits on his knees with his eyes closed. The guy is at a crossroads. And if he makes the wrong choice now, everything could end badly, such as the vague premonition. He wonders if he's worried that an army of demons might soon break through the bridge. Does he really fear deep down for his goddess and everyone else he left behind? He recalls Climb's words that he would protect his goddess and mistress even if he had to risk his life. Yuno knows that everything will be fine. His gaze did not lie. However, why does something inside him still shudder? He remembers how the girl hugged him and asked him to save this little one. The guy slaps his face with his palms and brings himself to his senses. First, he needs to calm down and collect his thoughts. His goal is to save Fenrir. He must do it at any cost. However, he does not understand what he needs to do this. He is going to kill Astaroth. The guy thinks about it and asks what will happen if he does it. He had a bad reputation to begin with, and if he kills Astaroth, he will be at the bottom, and in the worst case, his family will end. What would his sister think then? Even the thought of it sends shivers down his spine. Is it really because of his sister that he is worried? He shakes his head, denying it. The guy wonders, since when did he become so self-confident, as if he could kill Astaroth at any moment. He watches the carnage. This is a good opportunity. He will test how powerful his power is and how far he can go. Astaroth asks Fenrir if she is already uneasy. The heat is weak, and she is already getting weak. The girl is going to attack and says that in this case, she will put an end to this childish fun. The main character understands that he needs to act right now and suddenly takes off and flies towards them. He continues to fly and thinks that he will make it in time. He must definitely save her. The guys ask to look at the sky because another glow has appeared there. An unknown glowing object has entered the observation field. A third person is interfering in the battle. What the hell is going on in this forest? One guy is looking through a pipe and wondering where all this power comes from. People are surprised and think that this is beyond comprehension. Yuno has asked about who he is. Everyone looks at the glow of the main character. Someone is amazed by the beautiful blue color. All eyes are set on the slaughterhouse. He does have taste. Suddenly, Astaroth is surprised by Yuno's arrival. The girl asks what he forgot here, but he grabs her face. The wolf asks what the kid is up to. The main character suggests that she step aside. People notice the flash and say that the blue glow rammed the red one, and they ask Teacher Soleil what is happening. Tom just received information from the reconnaissance squad. Apparently, due to the enormous speed, they were unable to detect the object. But they say that the blue glow is stronger than the guardian of Fenrir. She is equal to the power of the god of death. The main character grabs the girl by the head very tightly. Teacher Soleil can't say for sure, but an unknown god intervened in the battle against the goddess Astaroth. Yuno scared Astaroth. Did he really want to meet so much? People watching the battle wonder if this is the third god to clash with Lady Astaroth and what is going on there. Perhaps they are witnessing the emergence of a new mythical story. All three girls watch the battle sadly. They ask for the main character to return from there alive. The girl turns to Teacher Soleil, who replies that he knows that, apparently, she decided to show her true appearance. Goddess Astaroth asks Yuno if he also wanted to meet her. It is mutual. From that very moment, she always thought only about him. The girl grabs his hand and tells him that he shouldn't worry so much. He asks with a smile if he has more important things to do now, and the guy asks again. Astaroth tells him that he understands that they cannot stop this horde of monsters. Without him, the horde of monsters has already piled up on the barrier. The girl uses a divine shield and wants the monsters to know the power of light. She helps the teacher. She succeeded. If she puts her magic on top of the teacher's magic, the barrier should strengthen. The monsters begin to tear apart the barrier with their teeth. The girl becomes scared from this. Very soon, a crowd of demonic monsters will attack their comrades. The guy tells her that it's because of you that they got all worked up, which is why he's here to stop her, but she says he's wrong. As fate would have it, Fenrir provoked the monster's attack. and Juno Astario successfully prevented it and became a hero. The girl holds the guy by the head, face, and with a smile tells him that tonight he will become a god. He does not understand what she means. However, he is afraid of this. That is why he came to her for help. Astaroth asks if this is true. However, the guy denies this. He came to stop the atrocities of the goddess Astaroth and to fulfill the wish of his goddess. Astaroth talks about whether he is worried. He is so scared that even his legs are shaking, but now everything is fine. She is next to him. The main character thinks about experiences, fear. That's why he felt uneasy for sure. The protagonist with frightened eyes tells her that she is right, Mrs. Astaroth. The girl laughs and says that he is a good boy. The goddess's clothes begin to fall off. She stretches her hands towards him and asks him to come to her. She will give him courage. The main character approaches her and she pulls him towards her. The girl holds his hand and says that he can do whatever he wants with her. The girl says that at this moment she is all his. The main character blushes, looks at her, and breathes heavily. Astaroth tells him that there is no need to hold back. It will be their little shared secret. The main character says that he prefers other body shapes than hers, and she looks in shock at the guy who swings a weapon at her. The guy makes a punch, but hits the ground because the girl suddenly disappears from the spot. The goddess flew up. The protagonist thinks about hypnosis and brainwashing, something like that she used. Good thing she's not his type. The girl starts laughing out loud. The girl loudly shouts to Yuno that she knew that if it wasn't him, she would be bored. True, it wasn't part of her plans, but it was also nice to fight him. The girl, covering her face with her hand, says that this is also the will of fate. The girl invites him to dance. Her aura is filled with evil. All his doubts have completely disappeared. The goddess Astaroth is not a deity. The protagonist asks her about who she is. The monsters continue to try to break through the barrier. The students attack the monsters that have gotten through. The girl is already tired, but continues to maintain the divine shield spell. The teacher asks the girl not to overexert herself. Among all the students here, he is the only one who can use the divine shield, which is why he must protect this place until Yuno returns. The goblin grabs the barrier and starts to tear it with his teeth. The girl starts to tense up even more. The blonde guy is screaming that everything is bad. There is no end to the monsters. One of the guys is sitting there exhausted and apologizing. His mana is running out. The guys continue to defend themselves. The girls stand silently and watch the fight with excitement, while teachers Soleil and Alice hold back the barrier. Suddenly, Alice wants them to experience the power of light again, wants to use the divine shield, but suddenly she feels uneasy. Suddenly she falls to her knees and begins to breathe heavily and tremble. Realizing that her mana has run out, the girl anxiously turns to Alice and asks her to hold on. She couldn't do anything again. She couldn't stop the person dear to her, and now she can't even fight when people's lives are at stake. She thinks that she is helpless. She thinks about how she is the best student in school. In fact, she wanted to become as strong and beautiful as that girl, and perhaps then he would have definitely noticed her. The girl sits on her knees and thinks about the main character, while the monsters begin to make their way through the barrier towards her. She imagines his image and mentally asks where he is. She is here, asking to save her. The main character smiles. Standing behind her, suddenly the girl feels it and turns around. She is told that she should not cry. Someone cuts through a crowd of goblins at once, killing them. Someone tells Alice that the barrier lasted so long thanks to her shield. She reduced the losses to a minimum. Alice looks at this in shock. A dark-haired girl with armor and a sword strokes Alice's head and tells her that she has wonderful magic. The girl is crying. It's her sister Ray. Ray, with many more knights behind her, tells Alice that they haven't seen each other for a long time. She apologizes for the wait. The teacher is in good health. He thanks her for arriving, albeit late. The head knight commands everyone and demands that they take up positions. Then strengthen the base's defense and protect the children. Ray asks the healers to help the students who have no mana left. Everyone follows their orders. Let the cleanup squad move on to the operation to destroy the demonic beast. Under the leadership of Ms. Ray, everyone looks at the knights in surprise. Ray is the strongest knight in the kingdom. The holy sword, Ray Astario. Everyone looks at her with relief. People understand that they are saved thanks to her. Ray gives orders. Everyone listens to her and follows them. An exhausted Alice looks and turns to her sister, saying Yuno's name. The girl understands her and looks up to the sky. Ray hugs her sister and tells her not to worry because everything will be fine. She apologizes for making her worry. She doesn't understand what that means. Ray turns to the other girl and asks her if she is Lady Athena. Night Ray kneels before her and says that she is very glad to meet them. She is the eldest daughter of the Astario family, Rey Astario, thanks the goddess for taking care of her younger brother. The goddess is shocked that she is Yuna's sister. She says that her name is Athena. In fact, it is her brother who takes care of her. She does not even know what to say. She is also very glad to meet you. Rey looks at the goddess with a smile and tells her that she is beautiful. Yuno, who made a contract with her, is very lucky. The goddess smiles and thanks Rey for everything. Rey also smiles, looking at her. Rey looks at another girl and tells her that she trusts him to her for the duration of his training. The girl says that they will see about that. She wonders if he will stay with her forever. Rey glares at her. Everyone else watches. People don't understand what the atmosphere is like here, Rey says, and she admits it's quite selective. However, let him not forget that Yuno adores his sister. She says that he and Yuno are not related by blood, but live under the same roof. So Yuno was very happy about this, and said that here, unlike in the Astario family, Rey looks at the girl with hostility. They continue to stand opposite each other. Alice thinks that she is actually Yuno's childhood friend and is sitting next to him, or that these are weak arguments. Suddenly she hits herself on the head and doesn't understand what she's thinking. Her friend looks at her in shock. After all, she thought they were similar. However, she didn't expect it to be that much. The two girls angrily turn away from each other. The knight turns to Rey and says that it's time. She already knows it. The girl points her sword towards the monsters behind the barrier and says that she needs to show Yuno how cool his older sister is. Her sword suddenly starts to glow. Everyone around is watching Rey. An aura is emanating from her. She is trying to concentrate. She opens her eyes and is about to strike. A thick beam of light shoots from her sword straight into the sky. The girl hits the monsters with this beam, but the blow goes much further, into the forest. All the monsters in the path of this beam were destroyed. Everyone is shocked by this, but Rey says that now we can continue. The knights joyfully raise their hands and shout for everyone to run after Lady Rey. They will push out the enemy. The fair-haired guy understands that here it is, the strongest sword. Alice looks at her sister with a smile and thinks that she will definitely save Yuno. One of the guys thinks that the girl has a bad name for the punch. The main character at this time is going to attack Astaroth and asks her who she is. She flies right above him. She suddenly is going to attack the guy. The girl makes an attack, which the main character successfully dodges. In flight, he thinks about what these words meant, about the fact that tonight he will become a god. The protagonist dodges another attack straight to his head. It doesn't matter now. It's better to focus on the fight. The guy makes an attack with his weapon, which she playfully dodges, but the main character does not stop there and attacks from above, but misses her. Yuno realizes that she put his goddess and all the innocent students of the academy in danger, and remembers what she said. And now she wants to take advantage of her position and blame the defender of these lands, Fenrir, for the rampage of demons. A being who enjoys such atrocities cannot be a god who shows everyone the way. It's just outrageous. The main character attacks the girl and sees that she is not there. The girl laughs and ends up right behind him, but he turns around very quickly and almost reaches her face with the tip of his weapon. But she manages to dodge even such a close attack. Astaroth smiles. The main character thinks that this is not enough. He attacks the girl many times, but still cannot hit her. He attacks and reflects that even if her name is in many legends, even if people all over the world call her a hero, he never, absolutely never, acknowledges her as a hero. The protagonist almost reaches her with his weapon, which surprises her. Then he finally manages to stab her. However, in reality, he scratched her. The girl says with a smile that it was not bad. The guy is shocked by this. Fenrir at this time lands from the sky to the ground, then sits and watches the battle, thinking about Juno Astario and how he should take his time. Fenrir is worried about something. The main character manages to slightly wound the girl. She smiles and says that it is not bad, but she manages to grab his weapon with her hands. The girl raises the weapon along with the main character, saying that this is clearly not all he is capable of. She manages to throw the guy far back. He hits the ground hard and continues to bounce back on the ground. He finally stops. The ground beneath him breaks. The guy opens his eyes and sees something that surprises him. The girl looks forward, covering her face with her hand from above, and thinks that all this is too strange. At this time, something moves quickly. The main character stands and thinks that this will not work. This is still not enough. In general, Yuno realized what she was capable of, which means now he should definitely surpass her. He holds his weapon and looks angrily at his enemy. The girl smiles and tells him that he has a beautiful face. It looks like she will have fun yet. Then they run towards each other. They find themselves next to each other again and attack each other, sending a shockwave across the entire street. The main character suddenly appears above the goddess and attacks her, but she simply disappears, his weapon is stuck in the ground, and then she wants to attack him. However, the guy notices this and pulls out his weapon along with a piece of earth, swinging it at the goddess. The girl notices this, the main character attacks, but the girl managed to dodge. Her hand ends up next to him. The girl attacks the protagonist with a thick beam of light from her palm. After the beam ends, the guy appears next to her, which shocks the girl. Right now he can kill her. He just needs a little more. His weapon almost reaches the goddess's throat, but for some reason he stops. He thinks again that he can kill her now. The girl smiles. The guy's hands shake along with the weapon. The goddess asks if he realized it. She asks the main character what it means to stand on an equal footing with her. The guy looks at her in shock. They were, of course, stopped, but now it is clear that it was all set up. Fenrir is watching this. The main character thinks that if he kills, then right now, but what if he was wrong? The guy can't move. Then everything will come to an end. He introduces his loved ones and his friends. The girl congratulates Yuno. The girl, spreading her arms, says that sooner or later he will be able to reach them. The protagonist continues to look at her with a weapon in his hands, but he cannot make a mistake in his choice. The guy remembers the words about making Athena the strongest goddess. He chose this path himself. Until now he had neither a goal nor a desire to become a hero. He did nothing, which means he now has a reason to try. The goddess informs them that he has been chosen by the enemy to dispel their mortal boredom. The guy remembers how he was congratulated on his birthday and asked to make a contract, but the guy asks the girl to shut up. The goddess raises her hands and says that for the first time she is grateful to God. She thanks him for giving her such a wonderful toy. The main character mentally asks her to stop approving of it. The guy covers his face with his hand, saying that he is not like her. The goddess offers to dance so that he can show the world his strength. The girl asks the guy to let him know that he is there. The protagonist realizes that what he must do is shut her up. The protagonist manages to move and throws away his weapon, then goes to punch her. The guy asks the girl to shut up and continues to attack her, but the girl only smiles. The protagonist almost reaches it, but Fenrir asks him not to let himself be absorbed. The protagonist is surprised. Some kind of attack appears from above, and behind the main character appears the wolf Fenrir, who appeared very quickly. After the attack reached the ground, a crater appeared at that place, and suddenly someone with 3 wings on one side appeared. Suddenly, a man with 6 wings appears, flying through the sky and looking forward. He reports that this is a violation of the agreement. He turns to Astaroth. The girl looks at him. Fenrir flies away from the battle site. The protagonist, peering out of his mouth, looks down and thinks about what the hell this is. Fenrir tells the guy not to even think about getting involved with them. He's not old enough yet. The protagonist understands that this is really a bad idea. The man is too far from him. However, for some reason, the main character still feels as if they are somehow similar to him. The protagonist gets off Fenrir, who notices this and asks him where he went. The guy apologizes to Mr. Fenrir and says that he just wants to talk to him. Fenrir gets angry at the guy. Astaroth asks about the violation of the contract. Is it possible that he was mistaken? Does he not want to tell her anything? It was not for nothing that she herself was looking for answers. The appearance of a homeless goddess, the existence of Juno Astario, and the so-called treaty with which he restrains him. She had long guessed what was going on here. Astaroth asks the Flying One, if nothing has ended yet, what will he say to this? Respected Supreme God. God asks the girl not to try, because her demonic eye will not work against her. The girl asks if he is planning to run away again. The girl should know her place. She is simply required to keep the agreement. He said that it is not time yet. Astaroth first looks at him, then laughs, and says that she understands everything. The Supreme God is talking about that her time has not yet come either. The Supreme God calls the guy a buffoon. The protagonist looks questioningly at the god. He tells him that he is a fool, who has not mastered his power. He should not force people to dirty their hands with him. The protagonist asks if he is a jester. God says that he unsuspectingly dances to the tune of fate, a real jester. A pawn who is led along a well-trodden path, that's who he is. The protagonist asks what he means, then thinks, and then asks in what sense. Astaroth appears next to Lucifer and laughs, telling him that she told him that he was an interesting guy. No matter how much you show off, he won't understand. The main character reflects on the fact that he is Lucifer and wonders if he is the almighty supreme god. Lucifer calls the guy a nobody and asks why he is here. God says that he has no purpose or principles. Everything in him is created by fate. He did not choose anything. The guy thinks about what he is saying, what he wants to tell him. So far, the main character cannot understand his words. His existence has no meaning. God asks the guy not to disappoint him. The main character silently looks at him. Lucifer leaves and calls Astaroth with him. The girl says goodbye to Yuno and tells him that if he misses her, he can call her. Suddenly, they both disappear. The main character stands calmly, then the monsters that are in front of the barrier, suddenly they are surprised and look around. The main character thinks that it seems the threat has passed. Suddenly glowing eyes appear behind him. Yuno thanks Fenrir for everything he did. Then the blood rushed to his head, and he did not even notice the threat from above. In the end, it wasn't he who saved Fenrir, but he saved his life. He doesn't understand what he did. Fenrir then stands calmly and looks away, asking the protagonist if he is leaving. The main character says yes, picks up the weapon from the ground. He says that the goddess and his friends are already waiting for him. With Astaroth gone, the monster's rampage died down, but he still hadn't achieved his goal. Surely fate leads us to the fact that Juno Astario will stop the rampage caused by the divine beast Fenrir. He still has to protect Fenrir. Suddenly Fenrir appears right in front of the protagonist. Stopping him, the protagonist looks at him in surprise. Fenrir asks the guy to climb on his back. He will take him to his friends. The main character refuses with a smile and thanks Fenrir. Ray looks away. Everyone notices that the animals are running away. Astaroth pacified them. Even though they are lower-level animals, they were strangely scared. Fear was probably sent to them when they were made aggressive. Ray yells at the men to return to camp so they can regroup and head out on the next mission. One of the knights says that they are finally getting to the main business. Ray is silent. Everyone is in the central camp. The girl turns to Teacher Soleil and asks for his permission to go in search of Yuno. She checked and found that the divine power nearby was gone, thinking that the forest is no longer dangerous. The teacher refuses her. The girl says that it was she who asked him, after which the teacher points his finger to the side. She looks to the side and sees a silhouette coming from the forest. The main character rides Fenrir and thinks that, thank God, the camp is definitely here. One of the girls laughs, and Alice looks at him in shock and turns away. The main character notices this. Then he sees the goddess, who looks at the protagonist with excitement, and then runs towards him. The protagonist happily gets off Fenrir. The girl happily hugs the main character and congratulates him. On his return, he says that he has returned. The girl thanks the main character and then opens her eyes in surprise. She abruptly lets him go and they look at each other in embarrassment. Ray comes up to them. The guy turns around and tells her that they haven't seen each other for a long time. His sister hugs him. She is very happy that he is alive. Everyone was so worried about him, but his sister believed that he would return unharmed. If he was safe, if he wanted to eat, she could share with him. The main character was embarrassed and asked to stop. The girl asks the guy who it is, looking at the wolf. The main character says that it is the wolf he met in the forest. He saved him from danger and brought him to them. The girl understands this and approaches the wolf, strokes him and thanks him for protecting Yuno. And yet he has such beautiful fur for a demonic beast. The main character asks if she can tell how the situation is in the forest, if something else has happened. As for the rampage, he himself sees that the wild animals suddenly came to their senses, lost their organization, and ran away into the forest in fear. Also, in the capital, we were informed that the culprit of the rampage was the local god protector of the forest. The guy expected this. The question is, what will happen next? Now they must complete one very important mission. The main character asks about it. This is the destruction of the divine beast Fenrir. Such an order was given to her, and the royal knightly order. He will go to the camp alone, and he will hide so that people will not find him. Fenrir says that he is actually the guardian of the forest. The main character says that this is the reason. After the encounter with the goddess Astaroth, the name of the divine beast Fenrir was probably dragged through the mud. He could very well be accused of all sins, and he does not want to see it. He is the protector and god of the forest, but he will do everything for him. The protagonist leaves. He is ready for anything. The battle with Astaroth gave him confidence. Suddenly he falls. The protagonist notices that his strength is exhausted. Fenrir suddenly appears in front of him and offers to climb on him. The guy notices that Fenrir has shrunk. He has spent too much mana. This is the consequence of the revelation of powers that he has been holding back until now. In such a form, no one will say anything. The protagonist asks Fenrir if he will regret it. He asks not to worry about him. It is better to think about himself. Now he managed to get out of the water dry, but they can track him by magic power, so they both may need help. The guy thinks that they know everything. The main character agrees with Mr. Fenrir's proposal. The protagonist asks his sister if she believes that the rampage of monsters was caused by the divine beast Fenrir. The guy screams that this is not true, a blatant lie. Fenrir saved him, and the rampage was caused by Astaroth, but she interrupts him. Ray asks the protagonist not to blurt out anything unnecessary, otherwise she will not be able to protect him. He asks if she has any proof of Fenrir's guilt. She doesn't. But since ancient times, Fenrir has been known as the devourer of gods. And if this Fenrir was an enemy of the hero gods, there is only one answer. Any threat to the gods must be immediately destroyed. This is what the influential people of this country think. The guy asks if they want to kill Fenrir for such a ridiculous reason. Ray asks him to listen to her. This is a royal decree. Killing Fenrir is not even discussed. Besides, this decision is supported by the other gods. In this world, the words of God are the law, and if the hero who saved the world said so, then even more so, the main character thinks about it. The guy thinks that some great unknown force has elevated lies above truth. Several gods support the murder of Fenrir, so that is the reason for the inexplicable feeling that something is wrong with this world. The whole point is that religion and the higher gods are promoting an extremely false story in this world. He grits his teeth in anger, but he is catastrophically lacking the strength to resist them. How can he cope with this? How can he protect Fenrir and not endanger the goddess, the moon, and all the people close to him? Someone turns to the guy. The man says that he heard him say that it was not Fenrir who started the rampage. Yuno says that he saw it with his own eyes. So who needed to do it and why? The protagonist wants to say that it was the goddess Astaroth, but changes his mind and says that it was a blue meteor. Ray looks at his sister and says that right in the midst of the battle of the gods, like a meteor, an unknown god with magical power on the level of the goddess Astaroth suddenly appeared. The girl says that they are looking for this blue meteor. The guy doesn't understand whether this is about him or not. The man tells Ray that it's time for them to go. A guy approaches the young man and asks him to stop talking nonsense. First he ran away somewhere. Then he came back and said that Fenrir saved him. Why would the monster that grins at Astaroth suddenly save him? Maybe he hit his head. It seems that his magical power is comparable to that of a god, but at the same time he is so helpless. The boy remembers how the goddess asked him to save Fenrir. He thinks that in such a rotten world, it is impossible not only to fulfill the wish of a god, but also to simply let the goddess Athena shine. However, no is not the right word. He does not want the goddess Athena to shine in such a world. The guy understands that he needs to be cleansed. He generally thought that if he doesn't like this world, then he just needs to remake it so that it becomes worthy of the goddess Athena. Fenrir asks the guy what he's thinking. The protagonist found a way to save his life. Fenrir asks if he's thinking of standing up against the whole world. He denies it. The main character says that he will not stand against the world, but he needs new power to carry out his plan. If his intuition is correct, Fenrir will be able to. Surely his actions will anger the goddess very much. He tells her that they need to have a serious talk. The goddess says that everything will be fine with her. The contract with the god is made once, and for life, this is the unspoken rule of the world. The guy asks to wait, because he didn't say anything. She also wants this. She asks to save Fenrir again. Most gods do not like it when people worship several deities at once, because the contract is made with absolute trust and respect for one god. She did not expect from the beginning that he would be only hers. Athena tells the boy that he gave her light, so she asks him not to doubt his beautiful kindness will make everyone happy. The main character looks at her in surprise and lets go of his head, thinking about how happy he is. Happy that he made a contract with her, the guy thanks the goddess, but the girl asks him not to forget. Not to forget that she is the first god he made a pact with. The protagonist thinks she is cute. The man orders all the squads to split up and start searching for the Fenrir. The main character asks the goddess not to worry. Even if the first god was an old man named Zeus, the goddess Athena would be his priority. She can be sure of that. The main character passes by his sister, and at this time she says goodbye to him. There are people standing behind them. The boy agrees with her and leans towards Fenrir, addressing him with his request. The main character asks him to make a contract with him. Fenrir asks what he has in mind. The guy says that he needs power. He had already amazed Fenrir with his power. What was the point of making a pact with him? The skill of changing appearance. That was the kind of power he needed, even if it was just to change size. It would not be him who would stand against the world, he recalled these words. Yuno says that by rewriting the name of the culprit of the rampage, it will not be the goddess Astaroth, not the divine beast Fenrir, not Yuno Astario, But essentially with incredible power, which people took for a god, a blue meteor, he will be able to break this false story. Fenrir thinks that this is nonsense, an interesting thought, but it seems that he does not quite understand who the gods are. Making a god your ally or enemy is not as easy as he thinks. The main character understands this, but he has a task that only he can accomplish. He will pave a new path for this world. The guy says that for this he needs Fenrir and his power. Fenrir thinks about his words. Fenrir agrees with him and says that he will follow the path he takes, and the guy gives him a place in the front row for this. The main character tells the teacher Soleil that he will take the beast into the forest. He sighs and tells him to watch, and not to be too willful, and he will be the one to answer for what happened. Yuno looks at Fenrir, who tells him that they will hide in the bushes in that direction. He doesn't care where, as long as no one sees them. The guy notices something. The main character looks at the goddess and turns to her. She tells him that she can take him to her, although his father doesn't like animals, but that's not a problem. The goddess strokes Fenrir behind the ear and tells him that he is such a beautiful, elegant, and noble animal that he will definitely love her home. The main character you already continue to pet the wolf, and then says that if only he himself wants. The two of them, he looks at the wolf, and then talks about how it looks like he wants to go back to the forest and they feel sorry for him. The goddess asks the protagonist what he has in mind. The protagonist replies that he is going to the toilet. The girl suggests that he go right there. Yuno is silent for a while, then says that this is too much. The girl fixes her hair and says that everything is already over. The goddess tells the guy that he stopped the battle of the gods and returned alive. That's enough for you. Perhaps he heard such a kind voice of Luna for the first time. Was she really that worried about me? Or something else? He wants to tell her something, but the girl asks him to stop worrying. Each of them lives here in their own way. He is also an ordinary person, her impudent, obscene knight, that's who he is. However, if he still wants to go somewhere, then let him first give her an oath. Let him promise her that he will return to her as he is. The guy makes an oath, saying that he will definitely return as before and will be with her in the future. The girl turns around and leaves, asking him not to forget his words. The guy nods, and the girl calls him a fool. The guy turns around and looks after the girl as she leaves. Fenrir reports that he noticed that the guy has great friends. Yuno looks down at him and agrees with him with a smile, saying that he thinks so too. The guy and Fenrir are sitting opposite each other. The wolf asks the guy if he is ready, but he is not going to lie. He is nervous. After all, he has to become the god who instigated the riot, the blue meteor, and stand up against his sister and the royal knights. The protagonist extends his hand and asks Mr. Fenrir to begin, who places his paw on his palm. Yuno wonders what Fenrir felt when he listened to his conversation with his sister. The guy thinks about it. The divine beast that had protected this forest for centuries was needed by the higher gods and the people who believed in them. He doesn't know how that legend is connected to this incident, but the fact is that the goddess Astaroth caused the monsters to rampage, and the divine beast Fenrir stopped it, and this truth is now being hidden and distorted in every possible way. This is absolutely wrong, and so the main character will begin to change this world. The guy kisses Fenrir's paw. Suddenly, everything around the main character begins to glow, which he looks at in surprise. The guy thinks that the forest is happy. Suddenly, a woman's hand touches him from behind. A girl beast appears, who thanks the guy, hugging him from behind. The girl says that she has found the meaning of her life. The guy thinks that this is a girl. He has heard this voice somewhere. The guy comes to his senses. Fenrir says that they made a contract, although maybe nothing has changed for him. But he has acquired several skills, whether he wanted them. The main character reports that he had a dream and asks what these skills are. Fenrir asks the guy about what's wrong with his face, what does it mean? This skill allows you to change your appearance at the whim of your imagination. It takes a lot of magical powers, but for him it's not a problem. The guy is happy and says that this is exactly the skill he wanted, only the name is strange. This skill only changes the appearance. Let him not forget that those with a high-level detection skill can expose him. The main character wants to try. He uses the skill. Since he can change his appearance at the will of his imagination, he will create a look to his taste. Let her hair be silver, like the moon and the goddess, her eyes be blue. Like Alice's, her face be like a handsome man's. She wants to be as handsome as Klim. The clothes should be black, made of delicate fabric, like Fenrir's fur. The figure is adult, No need to change the gender. You need big wings, like Lucifer's. The color should be the opposite of black. The main character says that everything is ready. He shows himself to Fenrir and asks how he is. Fenrir says that it is not bad. The guy is about to leave, flies away on wings. The guy asks Fenrir to wait for the moment. When the time comes, he says that he is already waiting. The fair-haired guy who flew up into the sky thinks about how beautiful the moon is, and when you are close, it seems to attract you. Such things are beautiful in the eyes of anyone. This is the truth and the law of this world. That's why this world needs someone who will call a mistake. He will remember moments from life. The guy says that he will not follow fate, but will go the path that he considers. Right, he found his sister and his knights. The main character, having changed his appearance, turns to the goddess, the moon, and his sister, and says that he will create his own history. Rei, ready to grab the sword, asks the arriving protagonist who he is. The guy introduces himself as a god and says that he, Noah, is an evil god. He also lies about how he is the one causing the monsters to rampage, and everyone looks at him in surprise. One of the main knights looks at him and then gives the knights the order to surround him, to which the guy only laughs. He understands that this is how he will appear. He really liked the name Noah, which he read about in an old fairy tale. All that was left was to show the royal knights his strength and make it clear that Noah was behind the monster's rampage, and his mission was accomplished. It's time for him to prepare for landing. He's above a group of people, and then he's thinking about how he's going to land at all. Behind the knights, a blow from the sky hits the ground. People cover themselves with their hands from the ground. Rei thinks that the enemy is attacking them. The main character lies in the middle, his body stuck in the ground. The knights stand at the ready. The guy then stands up and laughs, saying that the Earth's embrace is so unpleasant today, and then wonders what he's even talking about. People are screaming about how they need to surround him, not understanding who he is. Honestly, I want to leave and replay the scene, but once it starts, there is no turning back, which means he'll crush them. The guy asks if people know who they're talking to. Rei suddenly asks Garnos to return his soldiers. He asks why. Wouldn't it be better to immediately catch the scoundrel? But she screams that she won't repeat it. Garnos shouts for them all to stand still. The protagonist mentally thanks his sister for turning her gaze on him. To be honest, he was a little scared, but now he can play the role of a villain without a twinge of conscience. The main character says that it seems that only this girl has brains. Rei tells Garnos that if he doesn't want to lose his soldiers, then he should be a little more careful. Most likely it's not a human. Garnos asks if this is the blue meteor. But no, she means they need to know about it now. According to the reports, the blue meteor's magical power should be comparable to Astaroth's, but he doesn't feel anything like that. He knows he screwed up. He just sealed his power out of habit and forgot. He thinks it has already recovered after the battle with Astaroth. Maybe he should try to release a little. Suddenly, a terrible energy emanates from him. From such energy, all people begin to tremble out of fear of him. They begin to fall to the ground, not understanding what kind of terrible magic this is. Is it really a blue meteor? He laughs. The guy starts laughing out loud and asks why they started shaking like puppies. It's amazing. The main character asks them where all their coolness went, since they are already afraid. Then how are they going to fight Fenrir? Let them answer him. It seemed like a complete coincidence, but he began to understand why Lucifer had irritably called him a jester. They don't even try to find out the truth. They just dance on the stage of a fictional play like funny puppets. Why are they even here? Even just looking at them disgusts him. Garnos trembles and tells the guy that he is like a demon, but he looks at him calmly. The main character asks again about the demon. He sits down next to him and tells him that they are both villains. They will definitely become friends. He explains that they were going to finish off Fenrir, who tried to save them, to repay good with evil. Truly the way of a villain, can he offer to make a deal with him. Garnos demands that he shut up. He will not tolerate such harm. The guy would argue about harm. He probably already guesses it himself. The main character with an evil appearance says that he personally arranged the monster's rampage. Rei looks at him carefully. Garnos says that this can't be Aemon. Clearly said that it was Fenrir who was causing a rampage and threatening the world, and that they must kill him. The guy grabs him by the forehead and tells him to go and tell his thick-headed master that no one can stand in his way for such pathetic non-entities. The man gets angry and asks how he dares to insult their master. Then Rei removes the guy's hand from Garnos. The main character silently looks at her. Rei introduces and says that she sees that he is a god. She has a question. The girl asks the guy what his name is. The main character smiles and is about to say his name. The main character falls silent at this point. He looks at the calm girl in surprise. He just opens his mouth. The guy grabs his throat, not understanding what is happening, why he can't say his name. The goddess asked if they knew about the existence of homeless gods like her. These are weak gods who do not even have a name. She wants to tell some divine rules so that the homeless gods cannot deceive them into making a contract with them. Firstly, if a god is asked for his name, he will definitely introduce himself. Having learned in advance what the deity's name is, they can avoid an unwanted agreement. Yuno wrote this down in a notebook. The protagonist recalls Fenrir's words that it only changes his appearance. He is not a human being, so divine rules apply to him, so why can't he call himself Noah? Suddenly, he hears some kind of crunch, holds his head, and thinks that his head is splitting. He hears voices saying the name Zeus. The boy doesn't understand what it means. Zeus is the first god he made a pact with. When he is forced to say this name, Rei asks the guy what happened. He is in pain, and he feels heavy, as if he is not himself. The main character again remembers Lucifer's words about how he, without suspecting anything, dances to the tune of fate, a pawn who is led along a beaten path. That's who he is. The guy tries not to remember it. He thinks that they are all tired of setting him up. It is disgusting. He wants to name the name again. He manages to say that his name is Noah. The ground beneath him began to break. The guy is about to attack. Rei takes up the sword. They almost collide with each other. The protagonist asks them to remember this well. The girl smiles when she realizes that his name is Noah. A powerful battle between brother and sister begins. During the battle, the girl addresses the blue meteor and tells it that she wants to talk to it, but it seems to be eager to fight. The protagonist agrees and specifies that he wants to quickly get rid of the pathetic worms in his path. Suddenly, they bounce off each other. The guy understands that the headache seems to have subsided, but what exactly was that? The girl says that she even feels a little sorry. She hasn't even used half of her power yet. Is this all he's capable of? The main character silently looks at her. The guy laughs at first, saying that he can't help but agree in that sense, then snaps his fingers and says that it's because he only used 1/10 of his. The girl says that she understands, and in that case she will do as he wants. The girl puts the sword in front of her. Right in front of Rei, a few swords appear above him. Yuno thinks that this is the first time he fights his sister since she became a holy sword. The girl's about to use her final technique, Juno Crisis. There are many of them, and they all attack the guy. Clones of the girl attack the main character from all sides, who stands with his hands in his pockets. I see, so the blows of countless projections of swords, as close as possible to real ones, are an excellent technique, but he turns his leg sharply. The main character kicks, attacking all projections at once, leaving only pillars of dust around him. The guy says that the name is terrible. The knights are amazed that he repelled Mrs. Rei's strongest move with one kick. The guy laughs and asks if that's all. He just caused a breeze with a kick. She says that he is strong. She wants to ask something. The girl, out of breath, asks why he had caused the monsters to rampage. Yuno says that it was just for the sake of it, and if there was a reason, it was to let everyone know of his existence. The knights are angry when they realize that this is the only reason he killed so many children. They call him an evil god. Their voices will be used to rewrite history. Rei says that if this is true, then the other gods will not stand aside. Where is the proof that this is his doing? His sister is not one of those. The cat accepts everything as purity. He has no proof. However, he will be able to cause this rampage himself. He asks if they want him to cause the rampage right now. He pulls a goblin from the bushes towards him. All the knights look in shock at the main character, who is holding the goblin, and fire appears around him. The man runs towards him screaming and holding a sword. He attacks him, but the guy blocks the blow with his hand. Rei shouts his name. Garnos shouts at him that he will kill him, because if he is left alive, this country will come to an end. The protagonist squeezes the guy's sword so hard that it cracks. This surprises the man. Rei demands that Garnos step aside. Because he can't handle this alone, the guy tells him to stand still if he values his life, the life of his subordinate. He will show him the real cruel reality. He doesn't like his eyes. Since he loves his country so much, he could have made a better decision. He could have carefully considered the information he received and revealed the truth. He did. However, He was lazy, entrusted everything to his beloved god, and refused to think. There is always light in his sister's eyes. She is trying to understand how to act better, but in his gaze he does not see it at all. The protagonist makes a final warning. Let him not desecrate her great deeds anymore. To live or die, even if he decides it with his own brain. People think that it is impossible, they cannot defeat him, they do not want to die. Where are they running away to? Let them come back. A guy asks a man if he will run away. The man is blessed by God. His plans are not destined to come true, Yuno says with a smile that then he will die. He had already stopped understanding who the real him was. But now it didn't matter, he was ready for everything when he came down here. The protagonist orders him to hit and stretches his hand forward. He is a man, but now he must be a god. What kind of evil god is he if he is afraid to kill people? Such weaklings are unworthy of the title of evil god. The main character asks to beat him again. The man smiles and notices that his hands are shaking. Did he really just threaten? The protagonist yells at the man to disappear and attacks him with a huge shockwave. The man covers himself with his hands. The protagonist thinks about whether he can bear the weight of the sin of killing a person. The girl is about to enter the fight and suddenly notices something. The main character holds his hand in front and thinks that he did everything right after all. The guy stands right in front of the man, who stands frightened, covering himself with his hands. He thinks about whether this is everything he wanted, whether to show him something. The girl reaches out her hand to him. The girl stands in front of the guy, protecting him with herself. The attacks almost reach her, and then the main character is horrified. The guy wonders why the goddess is here. It's all useless. He won't have time to save her. He is well aware of the fact that he has just killed the goddess Athena with his own hands. He was given enormous magical powers from birth, but he wanted nothing. Neither to become a hero, nor to get rich, nor to gain popularity with girls. The future was not interesting to him. He knew that even if any of this came true, he would not be happy. He had no dream. But one day a light entered his heart. He, born with an abnormal power, who wanted nothing and was not interested in anything, for the first time had some kind of human goal. His only reason to live on was the desire to make the goddess Athena the supreme deity. However, he didn't know what he had done now. The boy turned to god Noah, calling him evil and asking him not to underestimate him. They fought, and his sister attacked the enemy. He will protect the goddess Klima, even at the cost of his life. The guy asked him why he was here, and why he was interfering with the goddess and others in their fight. The hero answered him that he really thought that he was playing the role of an evil god perfectly, with such a tear-stained face, and asked him not to make him laugh. He said that they followed him themselves, and he had nothing to do with it. The girl asked him what he was doing, and asked him not to die alone. The hero told her not to worry, and replied that he was healthy. He wondered if he had the right to be near such a beautiful goddess. He was told not to say that he was going to retreat. The guy asked if the evil god, in his understanding, just stood there like a pillar and looked at everyone with a surprised face. He thought he needed to do something, but his whole body was still shaking. The girl said that the tide of the battle had turned. She turned to the hero and said that another god had just appeared here. The girl pointed to another and said that this was the beautiful goddess Athena, with whom her beloved, superpowered, brilliant, handsome younger brother, Yuno, had made a pact. She asked what the evil god would do now. The guy started laughing and said that now he understood how people fight. Noah said that he had greatly underestimated them, and he did not think that they would call upon the goddess Athena to counter him. He added that they had come up with a clever move. The men began to ask about the goddess, to find out who she was, and they realized that the villain had panicked. If their mistress was talking, it meant she had a secret plan. They began to say that they still had hope and wanted to believe in the goddess Athena. They asked her to protect them from evil. Noah began to say that the strongest warrior of mankind had united with the strongest goddess Athena, and that things would not be easy for him. The girl replied that she was glad that he had understood this immediately, and that now, if he were to rage, the sacred hammer of the goddess's justice would fall upon him. Athena asked what they were doing, and the boy realized that he needed to act. Everyone was surprised. He said she had a pretty good punch. Everyone started asking each other what happened, because no one understood. One of them said he saw the goddess knock the evil god down. She replied that it was not her. Noah said he thought he'd take a break for today. He said that the people were saved and said to thank Athena. The guy asked them not to forget that one day he would change the whole world. He added that They will definitely regret their past actions. The girl answered him that he needed to prepare himself. She said the world would not forgive him. One of the knights fell to his knees and said that they were saved. They began to thank the goddess for saving their lives, praising her, but she said that it was not her fault, and it was not her. Rei asked them to move away because of the girl's confusion. They turned to each other. The hero's sister said that thanks to her they were saved from death. She does not know how to thank her, so she asked her to take care of her younger brother. Athena was still confused and said that everything was not as it seemed. She asked what she should do now. At this time, the main character went away somewhere. The guy told the girl that he would be back quickly and pointed out the direction in which he had gone. Yuno sat down to rest near a tree and said that he was tired. As he had planned, the evil god had now become the enemy of the whole world. The guy hopes that now the world's strongest will pursue him. Some to kill, some out of curiosity, and maybe, as Fenrir said, there will be those who want to expose him. He is very good at hiding his powers, but even in his normal form he cannot relax, including in order not to bring danger to those around him. Now the boy must be even more careful, even in the academy. Keep his abilities a secret until the last moment, until the goddess or the moon are in danger. Yuno slept under the rays of the sun. He woke up and the girl was next to him. The guy was surprised, and she wished him good morning. The protagonist wondered what the goddess was doing there. She replied that she was worried. She said that as soon as he returned after making the pact with Fenrir, he immediately left again, and now she found him there all alone. The boy realized that Fenrir had taken his form and taken care of everything, and he would have to thank Climb as well. He apologized for making her worry. Athena asked him not to go far alone. She said that she was a goddess after all. He chose her, even though she was a nobody. The boy asked the goddess to forgive her. She probably wouldn't want to become famous in this way. However, he decided that his goal was to make her a famous god. He lives for this. The main character extended his hand to her and suggested that she go to the others. She agreed. Even if it's a lie now, he will definitely make it true. The man was talking about Noah's Ark. He wondered if it was a coincidence or an inevitability. Laughing, the man said he finally found it. A little girl asked a boy what was next to him. He told her that it was a wolf he had befriended during a trip together, and that he was now building a house for it. The girl watched the wolf carefully. She asked him if it was a female. He asked again, and she repeated the question, "Is it a male or a female?" He did not know what to answer her. The hero asked the wolf what gender he was, to which he replied that he could answer as he wished. The guy told her it was a female, that is, a girl. She asked if the animal was his pet. In fact, he is a god, but formally he is indeed a pet. The boy replied that it was his pet, and he thought that the girl was afraid to communicate even with animals. She said the wolf was very cute. A few days had passed since the incident with the divine beast in the forest. He had time to think about many things and decided that Fenrir would live with him in the flame estate. The girl asked if she could touch the wolf. It was allowed. Luna wanted this too, so everything was resolved surprisingly smoothly. She said that she likes animals that look like dogs. The protagonist was surprised by these words. The divine beast Fenrir was blamed for the rampage of monsters, which in fact were the gods. He was able to save him, but the mistrust of him still hasn't dissipated. More, the guy created a fictional character under the name of the evil god Noah, and openly challenged these very gods, so he decided to hide with Fenrir for a while. The hero was asked how he was feeling. The girl asked not to disturb the guy. Alice thanked him for his work and brought him something to eat. She said she was not disturbing. The hero thanked her. The heroine apologized for having to fuss a bit because of one dog hater. He said it was nothing. A few hours ago, the man answered negatively. They told him that there was nothing wrong with that, and let the pet be there, since Luna rarely asks him for anything. He replied that that was a completely different matter. The man asked why they went to train in the first place. He thought they had seen with their own eyes how dangerous wild animals were, and who would be responsible if something happened. The girl said that then she would also ask a question and asked her father whether the wolf looked like an aggressive and dirty animal that could harm people, in his opinion. The girl was glad that the wolf gave her his paw, because they didn't even teach him that. In her opinion, he was very smart. The man looked at her and remembered the woman's words. After some silence, he said that a booth was needed. He said that if the animal lives in a booth, then he will allow it. The guy thought it was too creepy, because you can't force a divine beast to live in such conditions. The hero turned to the man and asked him to think about it. At that time, the beast told him that he didn't mind. He felt calmer in small places. The girl turns to the boy and says that if he lacks something, then let him tell her, and she will bring it. He agreed with her. The girl asked what the wolf's name was. They told her that her name was Pochi. She is elegant, noble, and beautiful. In one word, Pochi. The guy repeated the name, and the girl asked him if it was a beautiful name. The hero didn't understand seriously whether she was speaking or not. The wolf told him that he liked the girl, and she could call him whatever she wanted. She giggled at the way his tail was wagging and said she must have liked the name. The boy felt amazed. Alice said that she also loved the wolf. She was asked to touch it carefully, because the animal might get scared. However, it did not run away, so everyone thought it was smart. The protagonist turned to the goddess and asked if she wanted to touch the wolf because she was furry. She asked again if she could do it. He told her to go forward into the fluffy paradise. In the Duke of Rose's estate, the training ground, the girl used light magic to pierce the enemy. She launched a shining arrow. Simply reading a spell is the maximum of her power. It is not enough. She needs to learn to use at least medium-level magic without text. After all, the situation that happened in the past may repeat itself. She remembered the situation and wondered what would happen if she asked the hero the same thing. Would he answer her? The girl tried to get the thoughts out of her head and thought that she didn't want the guy to protect her at all. Alice thought about her feelings for him. A man approached her with a request. She quickly responded. He told her that the lady wanted to talk to her about a social event tomorrow. She asked him to tell her to come to her after training. The girl said that soon will come. Academy of Knights Mages Phalis Selina Ballet, head of the academic council. She sighed before entering. The guy thanked her for coming on time. He started to speak, but Selina interrupted him and asked him to turn on the light first. The guy said that to begin with, he suggested remembering the new students who were able to return alive from the forest of the divine beast and suggested drinking to that. He thanked the gods for the blessing. His name was Lloyd Mertz, the vice chairman of the academic council. They clinked glasses, and the girl thanked him. She started drinking and felt the water. Selina agreed. She added that not a single student had been harmed in the unexpected rampage of the monsters, and that was at least something good. If this was truly a blessing from the gods, then they really should thank them first. He told her in another language about the Day of Rage. She asked him again. Lloyd asked her if she was experiencing it. He asked her not to say that a genius like her doesn't know what a Day of Rage is. If she was deliberately pretending to be stupid, then he would be upset. The girl didn't hear him because he said it too awkwardly. Selina noticed that he was smart. She replied that she had not tested him and asked if he knew that they were ordered to remain silent about what had happened in the forest of the divine beast. After all, only the students present there know that, in addition to the rampage of monsters in the forest, there was also a battle between the gods. And he, a member of the Mertz family, who is in charge of the secret affairs of the kingdom, he said that she was the head of the academic council, the eldest daughter of the Duke of Ballet, one of the 4 great aristocrats, the Crimson Princess Swordswoman. Her sharp gaze that looked through the darkness deserved respect. He called it excellent. She thanked him and thought that she wanted to go home. Lloyd spoke the name of the evil god Noah. The girl was glad to get down to business. The guy said that in the chronicles of his family, there was no god with such a name. But his magical power exceeded the power of the beast, God Fenrir himself. And the goddess of love and beauty Astaroth was not inferior at all. Selina asked if he knew any information about this unknown god. He said about Noah's Ark. She was surprised that the appearance of the evil god was connected with that famous fairy tale. Lloyd replied that most likely. He said that it would be better for him to remain silent. The girl was indignant. She didn't like that he said so much and then suddenly stopped talking. He told her that some things were better left unsaid. He also said that the tournament date was approaching. The girl realized that he knew nothing. He told her that their academic council consisted of the 3 students with the best grades in each year. This year, they would be joined by newcomers. They were Alice, who had passed the entrance exam with the best grades, and Climb, who had taken the 2nd place in the exam. And finally, the last participant will be the winner of the fighting tournament, which will begin next month. She asked him if he had any idea who the winner would be. He replied in the affirmative. The girl asked him to tell her who it would be. Lloyd told her that it was not her sister. She is one of those people who does not like people who create an atmosphere of mystery, but she has complete confidence in Lloyd's ability to understand people. Deep down, Selena knew it would happen, but she still hoped. He told her that since she was asking him, it meant that she too already had an idea who would win. The girl answered positively. The guy suggested that she try to guess, and she suggested that they say both at the same time. The girl turned to the main character and said that the wolf was very fluffy, soft, and warm. The animal was very fluffy and pleasant, like a cloud. The main character was pleased and happy that everyone was smiling. Of course, he doesn't think that everything he did in that forest that night was right. The boy really wanted the goddess, Luna and Alice, to smile, and for Fenrir to be with them. He wanted to see it. His eyes stung, and the wolf asked where he was going. The guy replied that he was going to the toilet. The deity told the protagonist that some guys had already noticed him. The wolf also said that he would closely monitor those around him and asked the boy to be extremely careful when he was alone. The protagonist thought that it happened faster than he expected. He thought about who they were talking about. In any case, it was not the time to indulge in pleasant feelings. At this time, in the Felice Academy of Magic Knights in the arena, Athena was trembling. The protagonist was encouraging her. A light appeared around her, and the guy said that she succeeded. The girl started saying she was glowing. She was glad she could do it. She turned to the guy and said that now she can not only fly slightly, but also emit light. Yuno answered her that she is great and looks very divine. This is a sign that her strength has grown. The girl was surprised that her strength had grown. She fell silent. The protagonist asked her what had happened. She awkwardly asked if she was of any use to him. The guy thought the girl was cute. They told her that she was useful, and if she was nearby, he wouldn't be afraid to go home at night. They were both very happy. The protagonist laughed awkwardly and said that he also needed to try hard before the tournament. He was going to continue training. The boy hissed at these words. People started asking about the veracity of the rumors that the goddess Athena had driven away the blue meteor. He was told that he could be wiped out for that. And of course, it was a lie. The guy thought that it was expected, but being ordered to keep silent was a pretty painful thing. However, since the goddess's power increased, it means that one of the witnesses spread such a rumor about her. It can be said that that slightly strained performance was a success. A guy approached the main character and said that he was apparently in a good mood. Yuno greeted him. Maro asked if the trip was fun. He said that it was despite the fact that the hero was talentless and always went somewhere alone and caused problems for everyone. The main character apologized to him for that time. The guy asked if he really considered himself guilty. He said that Alice, that Luna, that all his other comrades do not see reality at all, and the main character is only putting himself on display. He did not understand what they saw in such mediocrity, because he simply made a pact with God, and there are no results. Maro said that this was not surprising, however. The boy advised him to stop. However, the boy continued talking about the god with whom he had made a pact. Maro suddenly fell. This surprised everyone. They started calling the teacher to help the boy. The main character assumed that he probably had blood in his head. Athena asked if he was okay. Yuno turned to the teacher and said that he would take the boy to the medical center. The man agreed. The hero said that he needed to go to the medical center and asked the goddess to stay with Alice for now. However, he remembered that Alice had not come today, and this was rare. The guy offered her to go with him anyway. She told him not to worry about her, because she would also need to go on business. He said they would see each other later. The girl told him the same thing. The teacher asked him if he could carry the boy alone. The protagonist replied that he could. However, Maro was a bit heavy, but that was okay. The man told him not to overdo it. The guy apologized to the boy and said that he did not forgive the insult to his goddess, no matter what the reason. He remembered that Maro used to be completely different. Entering the medical center, Yuno asked for forgiveness, however, he saw that there was no one and decided to put the guy on the bed. He saw a man and assumed that he was a senior student who looked very handsome. He had a smell. The man told him that it was interesting. He assumed it was fate. The protagonist saw him wrapping himself up and asked if he was hurt. The man told him that it was not a wound and he was just making a seal. The main character thought that it was a serious injury and that it was better not to mess with that guy. He said that it was time for him to go. The man uttered the name of the evil god Noah. He told him that he was sure that the boy had seen a new legend and a god. The protagonist asked what he meant. The man assumed it was an order to remain silent and said that he saw how obedient the guy was. He introduced himself by saying that his name was Lloyd Mers and asked if this name was familiar to him. The protagonist remembered that this was a mysterious family engaged in secret affairs of state. He answered him that he knew him. Lloyd said that the Mers family recognizes and records all phenomena in that country that are connected with the gods. Of course, these phenomena include the conflict between the goddess Astaroth and the divine beast Fenrir, and the appearance of the evil god named Noah. He said that taking this into account, he would ask again. Lloyd asked how the evil god Noah looked in the eyes of the protagonist. The boy asked what he meant. He wondered how much the man knew and what his goal was. Lloyd replied that he didn't like to beat around the bush. Noah replied that he was scary. The best royal knights looked like babies in front of him. The man asked what he looked like. The boy replied that he had silver hair and blue eyes. He was dressed in a black cloak and had white wings on his back. Lloyd asked him what he thought when he saw him, whether he thought he was handsome. He laughed and said that was the answer he was hoping for. The guy asked him again about it, and he confirmed it again. As soon as the man learned about the phenomenon, he was overwhelmed with emotions. After all, at last a worthy god had appeared with whom he could make a pact. The guy replied that Noah was a bad god. Lloyd replied that it was, but in that boring world only he emitted an alien glow. The protagonist added that he was also the instigator of the riot, and that many innocent people had died because of him. The man asked if he really thought so. The guy thought he needed to calm down and act cold-bloodedly. He wondered what was in the man's eyes. The protagonist asked him what he thought was true. The instigator of the rampage is the divine beast Fenrir, and the goddess Astaroth fought him. This is the most rational and understandable answer. The guy thought that the man thought so too. Lloyd asked if he would be upset if he told. He said he doesn't like explanations that are too smooth and believes that myths and legends should sometimes be difficult to understand and beautiful. He added that based on his understanding, the instigator of the rampage was not Fenrir, and most likely not even the blue meteor. The protagonist finally understood the meaning of his very first words. The culprit of the rampage is the goddess Astaroth. Lloyd said that this was the truth. The boy thought that their meeting was truly fate. The girl said that she had posted all the announcements about the fighting tournament. She still has to sort out the application for participation, count the number of people who want to participate, conduct a draw, and as for choosing judges, she will probably ask the second-year students. People started coming up to the stand and saying that they had finally posted details about the fighting tournament. The girl asked them if they wanted to participate too, and she would be glad to see them. The guys were surprised to see the head of the academic council. She asked if they were fully prepared and full of energy. The guy said that he would strive for victory. The top two, Alice and Climb, are not allowed to participate, which means they have a rare chance to demonstrate their abilities to the fullest. Of the strong opponents and potential winners, only Lucis remained. In general, if they don't nod off, they might even be able to join the academic council. One of the guys said he wasn't sure. The girl said it was great zeal. She wished them luck. The boys thought she was beautiful. They started whispering among themselves and saying that the guy was very brave to say that right in front of Selena. He was surprised that he said it wrong. They told him that he needed to remember about her beloved sister, who also wanted to get into the academic council. The guy replied that he had forgotten about her, although they were in the same year of study. They replied that he had made a very big hint that the younger sister of the Duke's eldest daughter was nobody. The Duke was also one of the 4 great aristocrats. They started discussing how she compared to Selena. The girl saw someone walking and wondered where she was going. This year, the main character must win. Selena was asked to explain why she thought so. After all, the guy is called Talentless, but she is interested in him for 3 reasons. First, her fencing teacher told her about his potential many times. Second, the famous Lonely Moon appointed him as her knight. Third, his entrance exam results. In the practical part, he scored below average, but in the written part, 100 points for the first time in the history of the Academy. In other words, it has been officially proven that he surpasses all of them in terms of knowledge. The guy said that he understood, and he did not deny her words, but her opinion seemed superficial to him. She asked in what sense. He answered that the main character was superior to them in intelligence. This is obvious. But that is why one question arises. A pact with a homeless goddess. This fact haunts him. He is called the most talentless of all in the Astario family since the day and its foundation. However, he has a great mind. At the same time, he made such a stupid mistake. The girl began to think about the reason for the pact with the homeless goddess. There are 3 possible explanations for this. First, he has actually become so powerful without anyone noticing that he doesn't consider the pact with the homeless goddess to be anything bad. Second, he has already made a pact with a known god and has gained enough power. The girl asked about the third point. Lloyd replied that the guy could just be a fool. She asked him if he wanted to check it out. He said no, and that there was no need. It is not necessary to talk to him personally. The results of the fighting tournament will tell them everything, so they just have to wait for that day. The Smart Eagle hides its claws. The protagonist said that the heroic goddess Astaroth could not be the culprit of the rampage. This is excluded. After all, she already saved the world once. Lloyd asked who then had been saved by Lady Astaroth. She never saved him. He asked the protagonist if he had ever thought about the strangeness of that world. Did he ever feel like the world was rejecting him? The guy thought about it, and he had many ideas and thoughts about it. He was called a mediocrity, a mistake, a disgrace. He was chosen as an enemy, which can dispel their mortal boredom. From the moment of his birth, he had already fallen outside the laws of the universe. One of the gods congratulated him on his birthday and asked him to make a contract with him. Until now, he tried not to think about it. He convinced himself that Zeus's power was to blame for everything. After all, no matter how much knowledge he acquired, he could not find the answers to the main question. The boy asked if he had to do something for the power. God answered him that it was for nothing. Lloyd said that if you look at the main character's reaction, he was right. The protagonist began to ask him why. The guy answered that it was because he felt that they were similar. Nobody understands his thoughts and ideals either. That's why he constantly doubted the structure of the world. From the moment he was born until now. The main character thought that it was too long and turned to the guy. He asked if the pact with the homeless goddess was wrong. And can't a goddess who is called a hero go on a rampage? If the gods and the whole world are wrong, then they can change everything. Of course, all this will not be easy, but for him the main thing is still a strong will. He exclaimed that if he had comrades on his way to the highest goal, he would be able to overcome any difficulties. He believes that even in that dark world, morning will definitely come one day. It was precisely as an evil god that Yuno first challenged the world that night. The main character said that every night ends. Lloyd said the guy was great. He gave him 100 points. A book began to appear in the guy's hands. The hero was surprised by the very powerful magical force. The Book of the Apocalypse has appeared, in which the secrets of the world are written. The guy asked what kind of picture was in the book. It was the moment of the end of the world. The big black circle symbolizes the power of darkness. In other words, it is a secret conspiracy. According to the prophecy, one day that world will perish as a result of many secret intrigues. And to prevent this, he needs a comrade. One who can become a singularity, like him. The guy asked again and said that he understood. In his thoughts there was a prophecy, the forces of darkness, a conspiracy, an apocalypse, the end of the world. It was all too sudden for him, that he did not have time to understand. Lloyd started laughing and saying that it was great, and he hadn't felt that way in a long time. He said that, of course, he had assumed that the main character was not such a simple person, but he hadn't expected it to be that much. The guy thought that he didn't understand anything, but apparently he liked him, and that was good. Lloyd extended his hand and greeted him. He told him that from now on he was his comrade. The guy thought that he couldn't do without that person either. The protagonist said he would introduce himself again. He is the third son of the Astario family, Yuno Astario. Lloyd said he is the second son of Count Mertz, Lloyd Mertz. He holds the position of deputy head of the academic council. They have united to create a world worthy of the goddess Athena. The boy was surprised that he was the deputy head of the academic council and the second person in the academy. Lloyd was surprised that he didn't know. But it was interesting to him. The guy said that the apocalypse is a secret between them. He didn't even show it to the head of the council. The main character was glad that he was shown such a treasure. He said that he would not tell anyone anything. The guy started thinking about revealing secrets and thought that he could share with him. A secret that he had long wanted to tell someone, but could not. His most important secret was Zeus. He wanted to ask him if he had heard, but the Lloyd attacked the guy. The guy asked him how he knew this name. The protagonist was wrapped in threads. The art of thread control is a technique of assassins. He relaxed, and yet it didn't seem that way to him. When he first saw the Lloyd, he smelled blood. That man was ready to kill mercilessly. Mert's family was far more vicious than he had imagined. The boy said he was asking for the last time how he knew Zeus's name. He asked him to answer. The protagonist asked him how he knew it. Zeus is the name of the most powerful god. Lloyd said he had good taste. The guy felt cool because he was able to fool him. He said that he seemed to have rushed and apologized to him. Now it has become clear that Lloyd Mers knows something about Zeus, but it's too early to touch on that topic. First, he needs to carefully gain his trust. He said he has cool moves, and it was the first time he saw something like that. The guy said that the main character is probably smart and guessed, but his family has been responsible for the country's secret affairs for many generations. He mastered these techniques during special training, and his surprise is understandable. The hero asked what the secret affairs were. He was told that perhaps one day he would be able to tell him everything. However, Yuno did not dodge even such a sudden attack. With this level, not only will he not be able to get into the study council, he will not even become a singularity. He turned to the hero and said that if he wanted to look into the abyss, he needed to show his strength. Yuno laughed. Lloyd asked him the reason for the laughter. The boy said that it meant that he had passed. He swung his fist to hit the Lloyd. The protagonist asked him if he had seen it. Lloyd laughed and realized that this was Yuno's true power, and yet he does not betray his expectations. The boy said that he likes him more and more. The hero said that it is an honor for him to hear such a thing. Mara woke up and asked where he was. Lloyd quickly jumped up and asked the hero to lie down. Yuno asked what he was doing, and he covered his mouth. He told him that it could be an assassin from an enemy organization. The boy told him that it was not so, and that it was his classmate. He should have seen him drag him to the infirmary. Lloyd asked again. The protagonist told him that he was very close. Maro asked if there was anyone there. Yuno was asked to be quiet because the enemy was close. Maro found the guys lying on top of each other. He asked what they were doing, since they were guys. Yuno asked if he wanted to go with them. It goes without saying that, after all this, word spread throughout the school in an instant that the main character preferred boys. People began to whisper and recognize the main character. No one expected him to be a boy. They say he was caught red-handed by Maro Byrne from the first grade. And it's better not to meet his gaze, otherwise he'll attack. They should be careful. They asked what if that's why his weapon is a spear. The protagonist was unhappy with Maro. He didn't think this would happen. However, he had already earned himself the title of talentless, cautious, and a tyrant. In fact, just another title. He tried to convince himself that he didn't care. Athena turned to the protagonist, and he turned to her and asked what happened. She started the conversation awkwardly. The girl asked him if he liked boys. He told her that of course not, and he loved and adored girls. The guy said that he thinks about girls even when he sleeps. She said that's what she thought, and the guy confirmed that it was indeed so. Alice thought that the main character had caused a stir again in her absence. The girl behind her turned to her. She asked if it was true that Yuno and Lloyd were dating. She really doesn't want to believe it, and she needs to know the truth, how things really are. Alice asked her to calm down. She talked to him and found out that there was a misunderstanding and asked him not to worry. The girl realized that it was a misunderstanding after all. She said she was calm now. She asked Ina if they were dating Yuno. The girl said that if that was the case, she would tell only her. She believes that the only person who can be the young man's partner is Mr. Klim. She saw that the mysterious heroes met in the evenings during the trip. At first, she was overcome with doubts. But one day, quite by chance, she heard words coming from the boys' bath that she could not pronounce right there. There, she was convinced that the couple existed. Alice asked what she was talking about. The girl said that she had talked too much. Alice said that she needed to be forgiven, and she didn't understand it very well. Ina suggested that she tell everything from the very beginning. The girl said that she would not be able to resolve the situation herself. Ina began to say that in love relationships between boys, the roles of Seem and Yuk are very important. Athena turned to the protagonist and asked if he was studying there today. He told her that he had a joint class, so now they were going to the ladies' class. Before him was a class of flowers, a class of birds, and finally he found a class of the moon. Athena asked if she could take a walk for now. The guy asked if she could handle it herself. The girl replied that she had long wanted to take a closer look at that beautiful building. He told her not to follow suspicious characters. The girls surrounded the goddess and began to address her and wish her good morning. They said that she was very beautiful today and asked what brought her there. The guy thought that it might be safer there than in the Academy of Magic Knights. He began to look for the place of the moon, and it turned out to be alone. Yuno told her that he would sit next to her. Apparently, the rumors reached the girls' academy. It seemed to him that they did not have contemptuous, but rather hot looks. The girl said he was popular. The guy asked again. She said that she wanted to talk to him about something and ask him. Yuno allowed her. Luna asked if he liked boys. The main character replied that this was not the case and that there had been a misunderstanding. The girls were dejected and the guy did not understand why. Luna said that she was very sorry. Yuno was surprised. She said there is a proverb, there is no smoke without fire. The girl asked what happened to them. He answered that nothing happened. Lloyd just suddenly threw him on the floor in the medical center, and Maro saw it. The girls were happy that the guy was Yuke, because that's what they assumed and interpreted correctly. The main character wondered what was wrong with them. He said he was a little scared. The girl asked him to relax because the attitude towards him had not gotten worse. The guy asked what was going on then, and a strange atmosphere formed in the class. She answered that it was entertainment for them. There were only girls studying at that academy, and many of them lacked thrills. And then a rumor about him and Lloyd spread. Obviously, everyone was interested. The protagonist said that it was not obvious. The guy asked why there was such a demand for rumors about him. The girl answered that he underestimated himself. Since he became his knight, the attitude towards him began to change little by little. She said he looked good too. Also, Lloyd is popular that he has a fan club. If it turns out that they are dating, it will be big news. The guy thought that she didn't convince him at all, but overall he understood everything. If this rumor wasn't so bad, then he would try to sort out this misunderstanding little by little, so as not to cause trouble for the goddess. The guy saw and recognized the blonde girl. He asked who she was. Luna replied that it was Cecilia Alford. She is her savior. The girl asked what all this meant. She was asked what she meant. Selena replied that he understood everything perfectly well, and he said that he would not contact the main character. Lloyd laughed. The girl asked him not to do it. He said he didn't mean to do it, but she put him in touch with him. Selena asked who he meant. Lloyd said it was fate. She asked, after all, how it happened that they started talking about him and the main character dating. The whole academy was discussing only that. The guy asked again. He said that everything was going according to plan, because the main character had become his comrade, which was essentially the same thing. She asked what they had been doing together. The girl said that it seemed that their assumptions were correct, and asked what he was going to do with him. She suggested that he would give him a place on the academic council and let him use it, or introduce discipline into the council, which he controls from the shadows. The guy replied that it was not as she thought. As he already said, the main character is his comrade. In other words, he judged that the guy is worthy of looking into the abyss of the world. She asked if he really wanted to take him into his organization. The girl started screaming and asking him to stop joking like that and asked what he was thinking. She said that he was putting him in great danger and wanted to kill him. He told her that she had misunderstood something. The leader of the organization that she considers dangerous is him. What is the point of introducing a useless person to him? The protagonist's true strength has long since gone beyond the level of an ordinary student. Most likely it will be comparable to him and her, if not stronger. The girl said that he couldn't be that strong. She remembered her sister. Selena thought that perhaps her sister would need the main character. If we are to act, we must do it now. In other words, the amount of magic power needed to activate each level of magic is predetermined. The formulas for deploying each spell are also different. The main character remembered the girl's words and thought in what sense she considered her a savior. Cecilia was plotting against the moon in a terrible way. She should have been expelled from the academy for this. But she sits next to her in class as if nothing had happened. This is for sure, because the moon did not sell, and the eyes in the case of the goblins. The teacher said that he thought they had at least heard about 10th level magic. It requires more than just a huge amount of leg power. Also, the price in the form of life force, therefore it is called the magic of a miracle. The guy thought that he had begun to understand the moon at least a little since the day of their meeting, but it seemed that he had rejoiced too soon. She asked him what happened. He replied that nothing. The girl looked at him and turned away. He thought that it was still surprising. Who would have thought that Maro would become Cecilia's knight? Their lesson was over, and they were asked not to forget to review the material for the exam. Luna said that the guy looked at the girl carefully and asked if she was his type. He replied that, of course, no. Cecilia approached Luna and said that she had brought a very reliable knight. She said that probably only lonely people get such knights. Cecilia addressed the girl by name. The girl was surprised by the large number of flowers. They greeted her and asked where she was going. She said that she had decided to take a walk until the end of the classes in the moon class, and she really liked the garden. They were honored to hear that she liked it, and they told her to enjoy it. Athena thanked them. Cecilia said that perhaps only lonely people get knights. She, unlike her, made the second son of the Burn family, who had good knowledge of magic, her knight. The guy felt that he was being drawn into a quarrel. He decided to see how the moon would react first. The girl decided to just leave and invited the main character to go with her. He thought his mistress had ignored the girl very elegantly. However, the boy knew that it was a bad move. Cecilia grabbed her hand and asked if she was kidding. The girl replied that she was not making fun of him and asked him to let go of her hand because she just wanted to leave. She swung. The guy stopped Cecilia's hand and told her to stop. Excessive actions will spoil her position. She said it would be even better this way. The guy wondered if she was in her right mind because she was acting so crazy. What happened between them? Cecilia said that she could see how the girl was having a lot of fun. After all, she always had a trump card at hand with which she could kick her out of the academy in no time. And she was even making fun of her. She asked if she was referring to the incident with the goblins. She told her not to worry, as she wasn't going to tell her father or the academy management about it. Cecilia said that this is exactly what annoys her and asked if she offered to thank her for this. The girl replied that it was rather she who was grateful to her. After all, thanks to her, she found the best knight. In essence, Cecilia is her savior. The guy thought that it was rare when the moon couldn't contain her irritation, but her feelings were fair. It was obvious that the girl was to blame in this situation. She had too much pride. Most likely, Cecilia's heart is seething with strong envy towards the moon. The girl mockingly asked if the moon said that the knight is the main character, so that this first in the history of the family mediocrity would be considered the best knight. She asked her to tell her how the main character, who is weak and spineless, is the best. The guy didn't think that he wasn't surprised by this turn of events, but he thinks that the girl will cleverly answer her because she knows what he is really capable of. Cecilia laughed. The hero turned to her and thought that something strange was happening to the girl. She said that she felt very sorry for her. Not only did the girl not behave aristocratically, but she also had no understanding of people. The guy wondered why she added fuel to the fire. Cecilia asked if she meant to say that her knight would lose to her no talent. Luna asked if she knew, but her knight had already lost to the protagonist once. Maro said that it was not true. He beat him in a training fight because he used the skill. He already said that losing to him without a spear was simply impossible. The girl asked the protagonist to show them his strength and added, so as not to hold back. Cecilia turned to her knight and asked him to shut them up. The guy said that duels over personal matters were prohibited by the Academy's regulations. And besides, the combat tournament would start soon. It would be better to fight within its framework. Maro asked if the protagonist was scared. Luna said that the hero was right. If they both won the tournament fights, then sooner or later they would definitely meet in the final. Of course, provided that her knight successfully reached the final. Cecilia said that these should be her words. She said that her knight had made a pact with a great magician, so they would be at a disadvantage. The hero asked about the magician. The guy said that he wouldn't tell him anything and that he would get it in full at the tournament, so he should prepare. The protagonist was surprised that Maro had a contract. It seemed that it would be harder for him to restrain his power in that battle. And speaking of a contract, it was beyond her understanding. Who would have thought that in the Academy of Magic Knights, where only talented people study, there would be a person who made a pact with a homeless goddess? The girl remembered the name of Athena. She said that making a lifelong contract with a talentless god who could not even give a worthy blessing was nothing but stupidity. It was immediately obvious that a talentless person needed a talentless god. However, she did not have time to finish. The guy approached her and said that if she said one more word, he would not forgive her. Cecilia was very scared and fell. The protagonist suggested that Luna leave. He assumed that she probably heard everything. A girl approached the heroes and asked them to listen. She said that she walked a lot. Athena asked if they knew that beautiful flowers bloomed in the Academy's garden. There were red, yellow, blue, and purple ones. And she also found a very strange flower with an interesting pattern. The gardener told her that there were rare flowers that only grew in this academy. The guy asked if she wanted to walk with him in the garden, because he also wanted to look at the beauty. His goddess smiled all this time. The girl added that she had found a strange place where water was bubbling. The guy assumed that it was a fountain. Athena said that it was quite possible. The main character thought that he would definitely win. He will not allow anyone to call his goddess talentless. The guy will show everyone such overwhelming power that no one will dare to laugh at him anymore and will become the winner of the tournament. Maro wondered how much longer he would have to sit and how long he would have to wait. Everything in the room became dark. The guy thought that the roof had started leaking and that he was being made fun of. He thought that he had simply been deceived. The guy started shouting that the agreement with the great god is nonsense. He has been waiting for 6 hours and no one. Maro started shouting who they thought he was and bragged about his relationship. He smelled iron and was apologized for the delay. The man asked what had happened and whether he had seen anything scary. Maro was surprised. The stranger asked him to sit down. He asked if he had been expecting him. The man apologized for being late and said that he had an urgent matter and that he himself was in shock. The boy was surprised at what had happened. The man offered to settle everything quickly. He asked if he wanted to make a deal with him. The stranger said that he saw how he had spoiled his mood and thought that he needed to hurry. The guy said that was not so and asked for forgiveness. The man said that then they should forget about unpleasant things and that would be the best option and said to start the ritual. However, he stopped and said that he needed to ask something first. The man said that he was collecting data on homeless gods. The guy asked again. The stranger said that people do not like them at all, and he does not want to leave his relatives in trouble, so he is looking for them. He asked if he knew anyone like that. One former homeless god is now in his academy. The man asked that since he is a former one, he should have made a contract with someone now. The boy answered that one such person was found. The stranger asked what the name of this god was. Maro said that her name was Athena. The man started laughing loudly and said that it was wonderful, and he was right after all. No wonder he thought the scenario was going too smoothly. That's why Mrs. Astaroth began to act cautiously. Maro turned to Alphys. He asked for forgiveness and said that they had not finished the ritual yet and he had high hopes for it. The goddess has been acting strangely lately. Previously, wherever he went, she followed him, but now she often began to go somewhere alone. The guy was upset that the goddess was avoiding him. First of all, he needs to calm down. The goddess is a goddess after all. She must have her own divine affairs. He is sure that she is very busy and just does not notice it. And today she told him that she would finish her business before the end of classes. The protagonist thought that if he had business, then nothing could be done. He grabbed his head and wondered what kind of business she might have. Now he became even more curious, and he thought about asking the goddess personally. But since she specifically called her solitary actions business, it meant that perhaps she did not want him to know the details. After all, for example, she called a walk. He decided to look for her. Today, classes ended early, and if he wanted to find out the truth, now would be the time. The main character bumped into a girl. He apologized to her. She said that she was the one who needed to apologize and that she should have called him. The girl said that she actually came for him, but he was obviously thinking about something, so she remained silent. He thanked her. She asked why. The girl understood what was happening to the guy. The guy didn't know who she was. She said he had beautiful eyes, and they really did look alike. The girl said that she had a request for him and asked him not to listen. Her figure is the same as Luna and Alice, but she is still growing. But you can already feel this charm of an adult woman. In short, for him, lovers of older girls, this girl, to put it mildly, is very good. However, he was worried that they had just met and she already had some kind of request. The guy found it suspicious. Fortunately, he has a great intuition for such things. He apologized, thinking that he would politely decline. She apologized for the suddenness and said that she was imposing herself. The guy said that she could ask for anything. The girl laughed and said that he was interesting. This was exactly what he had been expecting. The innocent smile of the girl he adored. She said her name was Selena and she was a 3rd year. The girl apologized and asked him to go with her right now. He asked if she could wait. The thing is, he's looking for his goddess and asked her to fulfill the request later. She asked if he meant Lady Athena. The girl asked him not to worry and just go with her. The guy didn't understand her. He didn't know where they were going, there was no one nearby, and he was no longer sure whether this was the Academy's territory or not. The protagonist was surprised that the goddess could actually be there. The girl turned to him and told him to watch his steps from there. Selena disappeared, but then he realized that she erased her aura with magic. Most likely, it is a high-level illusion magic, and she activated a spell without text. It seems that the girl is very strong, even for a high-class student. He saw Athena and didn't understand what she was doing there. The girl was training in magic. The guy thought she was cute and was surprised that she was training alone. He remembered her words about whether she was of any use to him because he chose her even though she had nothing. If you think about it, the goddess began to go somewhere alone after that camp. Now everything became clear to him. Selena asked if the guy was calm now. He said he was a little surprised, but thanked her for helping him. The girl said she was very happy. He asked her to tell him what her request was. The hair color is the same as Selena's, although he is even more concerned about what strange movements the girl is making. She said she wanted to ask him again. The girl asked him to accompany her in training. He asked who she was. Selena replied that she was Tina Ballet. She, like him, is a 1st grader at the Felis Academy of Magic Knights. The girl said that this was her younger sister. The girl said that she refused and was asked why. Selena asked why. After all, if she really wanted to improve her skills as a battle mage, then it was obvious that a sparring partner would be much more useful. She said that she appreciated her concern as an older sister, but her goal was to win the competition and get into the student council. She trained hard for that goal. Anyway, everything would be meaningless if he was her sparring partner. The boy wanted to go home and return to the goddess. The girl asked Tina to listen to her carefully. She asked if she knew the main character standing behind her. Right now, he is the most suitable candidate to join the student council. The girl said that it couldn't be true, because the guy was the 3rd son of the Astario family. He couldn't handle either the sword or magic. That is, notorious for being bad at everything. The guy thought that her feigned caution would hurt him even more, although he is sure that deep down she is still a good girl. And more importantly, why did Selena say that? The girl said that since she thinks that way about him, why not see for herself? She suggested that they have at least one small fight before she actually declared that he was not suitable for her training. The protagonist was surprised. The girl turned to her older sister and asked to let her know one thing. When she said that that guy was the most likely candidate to join the student council, was that her personal opinion, or was she saying that because she was the student council president? The protagonist was surprised that she was the student council president. The girl replied that who knows, although the Allode said the same thing. The guy was surprised that Lloyd said that. He realized that the mystery was finally solved, and it all looked like it was planned by Lloyd. Maybe Selena heard about what happened in the infirmary. He remembered the words of the guy who said that if he wanted to bend into the abyss, then he should show him his power. The protagonist thought that if that was the case, then he had to do something. He would show the student council president his ability to control the spear. The girl said that they needed to fight, and she would show him the fruits of her training. He asked if she was going to use the sword. The girl cleared her throat and asked if he had anything in mind. She assumed it wouldn't help him. The girl asked him to let her show him something special. First, she asked to hold his sword. The guy said it was heavy. She asked him to support another object. He did not understand what it was for. The girl asked if he felt light. She assumed that the guy had figured it out just by looking at her face. The girl said that it was true, and she had been training all this time with a ball magically enhanced to the point that it was incredibly heavy. But for this fight, she would take a wooden sword, which would make the fight a breeze for her. In other words, she would be able to show her full potential. Selena laughed awkwardly. The guy thought she was a comedian. The girl said that her older sister should just look at her. She had to see how strong she was. The main character thought that the girl had taken a slightly mystical position. The guy asked Selena if she really wanted this. She replied that her elder sister was serious, so she asked him to take this into account. He agreed, since she asked so. The girl started attacking him. The guy started looking around and looking for a long stick. He found it and thought that it should come up. The guy thought about what he needed to do now. Choosing to lose was not an option at all, especially since the girl didn't have anything special up her sleeve. She told him that all he could do was dodge her blows, but now it would all end. The girl told him to get ready, to try the most powerful special attack she'd ever done. She used light-cutting magic. The boy was surprised by the light magic. It was a type of magic that was rarely used, making it obsolete, but for some strange reason he felt like the blood in his body was boiling. He thought the girl was surprisingly very pretty. The guy defeated her, and Selena said that the duel was over. The younger sister did not believe that she lost. The main character didn't even do anything special. In a blow-by-blow battle, the deciding factor is how big the difference in the weapons reaches. Naturally, as a swordsman, one must understand this and adapt. But this girl may be much more interesting than he previously thought. He asked if she was okay and if he had hurt her. The girl began to talk about her special attack. She cried that her light cut didn't work. The protagonist began to reassure her that her special move was very cool, and the fusion of her unique stance and light magic was good. The girl cried and said that she had lost in vain. Her path to becoming the strongest swordswoman in the world was over. The guy thought that Lloyd had told her. The protagonist turned to Selena and asked what he should do. She said that it was a guy's responsibility to calm a crying girl down and wished him luck. The hero turned to God and asked for help. Meanwhile, the deity, who was left out of work, continued to concentrate on her training. The girl said that the guy was strong enough. Just like she said, the main character thought that it wasn't so good to calm down and crying girls. And he basically didn't do anything wrong. What upsets him more is that Athena is very close from here, and he didn't have a chance to talk to her. He turned to Tina and wanted to ask her something. She said that everything was fine and he could just call her Tina. He asked how long Athena had been studying. The girl answered that she didn't know exactly, but she was already there when she arrived. First of all, she seemed very absorbed in something. And she also seemed very determined. Tina said that she likes people like that. She may not be human, but the reason is the same. Because she is one of those who tries to give her best. The girl turned to her older sister and apologized for not showing her best side before. She said that she would train even harder, so she asked her to continue to take care of her. Tina said that she would definitely join the student council. Selena said that in order to fulfill her promise, she needed to defeat the protagonist. She said that she was the second daughter in the Barrett family, and the guy said that she was the third son of the Astario family. The girl apologized to him for saying something rude, and if he still agreed, he could be her sparring partner. The guy agreed. She was surprised and asked if he was disappointed in her. He replied that there was nothing to worry about and hoped for a pleasant cooperation with her. The girl said that she hoped for the same. The guy thought that Tina had spoken very well about Athena, so there was no reason to be disappointed in her. A squirrel rushed at Athena, and she apologized to it for scaring it. She thought she should go back to the academy. Tina asked about the spear. The girl answered her that yes, and she knows that she said this before, but she thinks that the spear suits her better. She clarified this with the main character. The last blow to the girl was great. She has more potential in pinpoint strikes than in sword swings. Tina asked if she meant what Lloyd taught her before. The guy asked if she had studied with him before. The girl answered that it was. It is called the way of the strongest swordsman under heaven. It is the same style of ball control that Lloyd taught her, and asked if it was cool. The hero answered positively. It could be that Lloyd had a lot of unusual ideas, and he passed on some of those strange moves to Tina. And it doesn't look like she's just playing around. He asked if there was anything else Lloyd had told her. The girl asked him to let her think about it. This happened right after she started attending the academy. The boys passing by asked what the noise was. They saw the girl and said that she was a loser. They felt sorry for her because even if she tried her best, she would never catch up with her older sister. She said that if they had something to say, they should say it to her face. The girl called them cowards. Tina said she would show them all. Lloyd said the wind was howling. The girl recognized the guy's voice. He asked if she was stuck in the same place. She didn't understand him. He told her that if she wanted to reach the next level, he asked her to let him teach her a few tricks. She was surprised. Lloyd said that he had never taught anyone this hidden and powerful sword style. The girl was surprised by the hidden and powerful technique because she is one of those who tries to give her best. The girl turned to her older sister and apologized for not showing her best side before. He told her at the end that he who masters the sword strike also masters the spear. She must learn what he taught her and become stronger. The guy thought that it was a mistake to doubt Lloyd. Selena said she thought Lloyd also wanted to say that the spear style was not suitable for them. However, she had never trained with a spear in her life. The girl looked at the main character and assumed that he was not so strong from the very beginning. He confirmed it. She asked him what he had become from the skills he had acquired. The guy said it was something like this. It looked like this to everyone. The girl turned to her older sister and said that she had changed her mind. She said she would make a contract with Athena. The guy was surprised. The boy didn't know what to do because at any moment he could scream with joy. At the academy, the name of the goddess Athena has become quite recognizable. But the cruel reality is that no one has ever wanted to make a contract. And finally, for the first time, someone did. Selena told her to do as she wished. However, as her older sister, she had to tell her. The goddess Athena was originally a nameless wandering god. Simply put, the benefit of making a contract with her now would be incredibly small. She asked if the girl understood that. As depressing as it may be, what Selena says remains a fact. In that world, most people strive to make a contract with a great deity. It is obvious why everyone thinks so. Not to mention that they are still young. There is no need to rush to make a contract when it is only possible once in a lifetime. Tina said that she does not see any problem with this. She has said it many times before, but she will say it again, that her goal is to get into the student council. In order to achieve this, she decided that she needed to get a blessing urgently. That's why the girl will make it with a god like Athena. A god who doesn't spare his strength. That was the moment when the boy made his choice. Athena came out to them. He apologized to her and asked if they had disturbed her. The guy extended his hand to her and asked her to come to her. Tina asked Athena to sign a contract with her. She said that she was still not good enough and her powers were weak. The girl introduced herself. The goddess said that she would only load her. The girl has been mistreated since she was a little girl. She has no friends, so she doesn't care what anyone says about her. Athena continued to dissuade her. Tina said she would spread the name of the goddess. She would show everyone that she really does try. Athena started to cry and said that she would try very hard then too. Tina said that in that case she would try even harder. The girls laughed. This contract is what the goddess Athena achieved with her own efforts. The girl secretly trained a lot from others, and now she is reaping the fruits of her labor. The guy said he was proud of her. Selena said there was really nothing she could do about it. She turned to the main character and asked him to take care of her sister. He agreed with her. As Selena said, there is definitely little benefit in making a contract with someone like Athena. But that is only for now. He will not be shy and use all his power to glorify the goddess. That is why his move is to prove that choosing Tina was not a mistake right now. The guy swore that the girl would not regret it. On that very day, he received a new valuable comrade.